All right, if everybody could come on in, find a seat. Welcome to our second meeting in January. We'll go ahead and let a few more people get settled here before we get going. All right. That being said, we'll go ahead and open up. Pastor McClure, would you do the honors of opening us up tonight?
Let's pray. Eternal gracious God, our Father, we're so grateful tonight to be able to stand in this place in your presence and honor you as our God. We thank you now for a nation and a city, a state, county that allow us to worship you freely. We pray now, God, in Jesus' name, that you will come into the midst of this room and allow your presence, God, to reign supreme. We're praying now, God, that everything that goes forth be done decently and in order. At the end of all proceedings, God, that your name will receive all honor, glory, and praise. We thank you now for our mayor, this council, and everyone that will be a part of these proceedings. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Ready? Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Thank you, Pastor. All right, we'll call to order. Roll call. Councilman London.
Present.
Councilwoman Cuellar.
Here.
Councilman Box.
Here.
Councilman Sims.
Here.
And myself here as well. First order of business, if someone can move the minutes from the January 7th, 2025 meeting.
Make a motion that the minutes from January 7th, 2025 be approved.
Second.
Motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Second order of business, if we could go ahead and have the bills moved.
Council President Spivey, I have a few comments I need to make.
Yes, ma'am.
Before we move on to approval. And gentlemen, this is really something that I have been struggling with for almost a year now. And a lot of it has to do with taking the time to interview our invoices, receipts, and statements that are related to our council expense approval report. I have reviewed them, and each time I find and document irregularities. And I've continually provided the council as well as our city clerk with copies of these discrepancies, and occasionally we do receive responses from our city clerk explaining what steps are being taken to address them. However, we don't always receive such explanations or responses. From the copies I've shared, which I've shared numerous with you, it appears you're not concerned about these issues because you previously stated that the amounts involved are not significant compared to the overall total of the council's expense approval report. But I want to remind you that over time, these discrepancies will add up to considerable amounts. And I ask that you consider this. Would it seem insignificant if these amounts were being withdrawn from your personal bank account? Well, gentlemen, please recognize this report is personal as it relates to all of us. It is our council expense approval report. Now, I have thoroughly reviewed the invoices, receipts, and statements in the council expense approval report for this time period, and I have noted irregularities. If you were to examine the invoices, the receipts, and statements yourself, I believe you would also uncover these irregularities. Because I have discovered these things, I want you and the citizens to know that I cannot, in good conscience, vote to approve this report. These are my comments.
Fair enough. We've heard from Councilwoman Cuellar.
Council President, can I make some comments as well?
While we're on the topic, let's go.
Thank you, Council President. I respect the research and the time that Councilwoman Cuellar puts into observing and reviewing our monthly expense reports. It's I'm sure it's a tedious task, and it's well needed and well deserved. However, I would have to rise to the defense of our city clerk. I know there have been times we may not have gotten a complete answer on all the issues by the next council meeting, but to my knowledge, and I would ask you to point out specific times, Councilwoman Queller, when we have not gotten answers to the questions that have been arised. I'd also like to know in your research what the percentage of the funds, because on a $30-something million budget, I have about a $5 million budget in my company, and there's always 2 to 3 to 5% of mistakes that wind up correcting themselves when we look at it, or we have to correct. But there's a certain amount of human error that's always going to take place, especially in that large of a budget. With that said, Council President, if no other comments, I make a motion that we pay the bills in a matter of $857,990.63.
There's a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
No.
Abstain or opposed?
No.
Opposed.
No, opposed. All right. At this time, Mayor, you have the floor.
Well, thank you, Council President, and it's we got a pretty big crowd out there tonight. Just want to thank you all for coming. Hi, how you all doing? We all just one big happy family. That's so Jason Hill leading the pack as usual. But I do have a few things that I would like to say. First of all, I would like to thank Heidi Kids for all of the things she's done since the death of Mark Meadows. She's gone to all of the public buildings, put up blue ribbons. She's been instrumental in the ribbons when we actually did the visual and all of that. And I just want to thank Heidi for everything that she's done to be able to honor Mark. Also, I want to say that the city is honoring Mark for the next 30 days. If you look at our buildings, we have blue lights around the buildings. We're also asking citizens that if they would burn a blue light at their house. And if you're not burning a blue light at your house, we will also ask that you put a blue ribbon on your mailbox. We just want his memory to continue to live. I've already declared July the 12th as Mark Meadows Day in the city of Irondale, and we're looking forward to celebrating him in conjunction with I Love Irondale Day, which will be July the 19th. Just a few things that we have coming around the corner. One of them is I'll be giving the State of the City address. The title of it this year is called Big in 25, February the 13th from 11:30 a.m. at Church of the Highlands. Also, this event is sponsored by the Chamber. The $25 is going for your meal to the Chamber. It's not going to the city. It's not going to me. And it's not going to Church of the Highlands, but it's to pay your meal. I know last year everybody kind of got it twisted and wanted to know why was Church of the Highlands charging people $25 for me to come and share the state of the city. Church of the Highlands is not charging anybody anything. I will give another one in March for those who don't want to pay the $25. You can come here to the council chamber and I'll share the same thing with you for free. Also, we have a Black History Month student art project. Submit a painting, drawing, poem, an essay around the theme Black History Hits Home. The deadline is February the 13th. Winners will be announced on February the 18th. Also, we're going to have a in-house softball game. It's called Take Me Out to the Ball Game. The fields should be completed within another month. And we decided that we're going to kick it off this by having a softball game in-house. Now, if you can play safe softball, I'm currently recruiting my team. I have Madison Towle, 3-year professional, and we also have her partner that's going to be on my team. We got Lee Allison that played softball. Who else I learned that was good at? Clint is very good, so you all tell Clint he's on the mayor's team. And Lauren played at Birmingham Southern, so she's on the mayor's team. I don't know who's going to have that other team, but I can truly tell you all the talent is going to be on the mayor's team. Councilman London, if you want to make up for the basketball game, I'll let you. Oh, you're on my team. Okay. Well, I don't know who's gonna have the second team, but they're gonna be in trouble. But if you would like to donate some ice, Bengay, and because what else, a trainer? Because I'm like 60 years old and bound to pull a hamstring or a calf muscle. But I'm going to get out there in the spirit of the game. And we're looking forward to kicking off this softball at our brand new, the Irondale Ruffner Sports Complex. The $8.6 million was spent for this project. If you go out there, you'll be able to tell that it was really, really worth it. Also on February the 7th, we'll have a We Got game where you can come to the Irondale Civic Center. We'll have bingo, board games, free pizza, and popcorn. Please come out and to be able to enjoy those individual events. And the last one is a citizen CPR class, February the 8th. And is that going to be at the fire admin building? Every month. Okay. If you want to learn how to be able to do CPR, I also invite you to that as well. Emma, what am I supposed to do next? Read the proclamation, or are we going to do the winners? Okay. Well, we're going to do the winners for the Martin Luther King Service Project Awards. We all know about Dr. King and what he was about, but one of the things that people seem to miss, that he was also about service. For the last 3 years, we've had a contest where we allow people to put in what they feel is a good service project to be able to benefit the community. And then we provide them with $1,000 to be able to accomplish that goal. It gives me great joy to say that there are 7 winners this year, and they are here in the audience, and I get an opportunity to be able to call them up to the front to get their picture taken, as well as to give us a 30-second elevator speech about your project. If you don't give the elevator speech, you don't get the money. The first person is going to be Miss Michelle Barkley.
What would you like for me to? So our project is going to be to create a booklet on being an engaged citizen. So specifically for Irondale, but really for anywhere. I spent a couple weeks ago sitting in here at my first council meeting. And to say that I learned a lot is an understatement, but I realized how much I didn't know about being engaged. And so we want to offer that in a different venue, because it's not that people don't know it necessarily. They just might not understand how easy it is to get involved and have their voice heard. So we're going to create a book.
Winner is Miss Ann Vafiates. And Ann has a project that ties into our brand new dog park.
It does. I've had this vision for quite a while. My daughter Samantha, who will be graduating from Auburn Vet School in May, will be able to assist with this project. We want to offer free microchips for your cats and dogs in the community. And now we have someone who can administer those safely. And we're really excited that you chose this, because I get tagged a lot when the animals go missing. And the most I can say is take them to be scanned. Now, hopefully, I can have a scanner. Maybe we can get a second one for the police department when I'm not available. And we can reunite these pets a lot quicker.
We'll give it to Jason Hill. Third winner is Mrs. Rosemary McGuire. Miss Rosemary, how are you? Would you like to share with the audience what is your fantastic project?
I'm a photographer, and a few years ago, I put out a model call for senior portraits, meaning high school senior portraits. And a friend of mine misunderstood and thought that I wanted to take pictures of elderly people. And that sparked an idea for me where I actually do want to do high school senior portrait style portraits at the senior center, with the goal of having prints to give to them, online galleries to give to them, and having an art show at the end. So
She says she's gonna also give me a photo too. Well, it starts at 55.
all right.
According to AARP, that's when they start at 10%. Our next award winner is Mrs. Nikki Gwynn. Gwynn, I'm sorry. That's all right. You can beat me up now. You may not get this.
You're gonna kill me giving these speeches. So my project is Irondale Loves Ruffner. We have this beautiful new park, and Ruffner is right across the street, but you would not know unless you knew. So I would love to make some kind of signage, easy access to Ruffner, and yeah.
Our next is our very own Lieutenant David Brasher.
Good evening. Most of y'all know who I am, and I'm a real big advocate in the community. And this year, my plan was to put a project together for our senior center, because the biggest thing for our seniors is isolation. So I've come up with a theme called Garden Together. And what we're going to do is basically have some raised bed gardens there. And I'm sorry, the name is actually Garden Gatherings, Growing Together. So we're going to bring the community together and bring the seniors that may not feel like they're a part of a group. And our theme is building community and building the future, so we can build friendships and bring them out of isolation and give them the opportunity to have a garden bed and grow these items and make friendships and just make them feel more important. Because a lot of times when you get out, especially when we go to calls and stuff, we see them, they don't have nothing to do. They don't want to get involved with technology. They've always had a garden, or they love planting flowers. So I thought, how great would an idea would be to bring a garden bed, raised beds, and some just minor yard beds out for them to grow and do things and have that social activity. So that's my project.
Last but not least, I would say that they are our youngest winners. Today is also someone's birthday. Really? I did not know that. Well, as you're coming, I want to ask you if it's cool with your hat on if we sing happy birthday to you before you get your award. Is that cool? Sure it is. All right. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Victor. Happy birthday to you. Now, Charlie, you're going to be the spokeswoman. Will you tell everybody what you and your brother put together?
We are going to use the $1,000 to help the pollinators.
Nice.
Butterflies and the bees.
All right. Oh, you stand up there. You. And we also had another winner that she had to go to choir practice, but she came today and took her picture at 4:15, and it was Tallulah McDonald. And what was Literacy Project? Yeah. So you can see we have a pretty sharp group there. I have a proclamation to read, and it's for one of the retirees from the Irondale Police Department. Although he did not go to the right high school, he went to Glenn. He couldn't go to Parker, but I'm still going to read this proclamation for you anyway. But it's Thunder and Herd, 6A champions. But who's talking about them? But anyway, we have Sergeant Terry Lewis with us that just retired from the city of Irondale. Terry, how many years was it? 36 years. One of the things that I was, Terry, you'll stand up. People want to see who you are. You may know him by dancing at the beginning of school this year. But I remember Terry because he worked in the schools as a school resource officer for so many years. And one of the things that he said that he was there for so long that they were kids when he started out. Now a lot of them are adults and they remember when he was working in the school. He's been with us for quite some time. I have a proclamation, Terry, that I want to read to you, and then I'm going to turn it over to the chief. He has a few words that he wants to say. And this proclamation says, whereas Sergeant Terry Lewis began a storied career of service with the Irondale Police Department on January 3rd, 1997, and whereas Sergeant Lewis served and protected students in all of the schools as a valued and beloved school resource officer. Where Sergeant Lewis was a light in the community, always bringing a smile out on patrol, and even blessing us with a viral dance from time to time. And where Sergeant Lewis began his career of service by enlisting in the U.S. Navy in 1983. After leaving active duty, he joined the U.S. Armed Reserves, where he served this country faithfully in 1989 and 1990. And whereas his law enforcement chapter began in 1988 with the Alabama Department of Corrections, and he moved to work at the University of Alabama at Birmingham Police Department in 1992. And whereas thereafter we were blessed to land Sergeant Lewis at the Irondale Police Department, enjoying his service and commitment and kind spirit for 28 years. Whereas today we celebrate Sergeant Terry Lewis as he enters his chapter of retirement, leaving big shoes to fill and a legacy to maintain. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, James Douglas Stewart Jr., Mayor of the City of Irondale, issue this proclamation honoring Irondale Police Department Sergeant Terry Lewis, in witness whereof I have signed and placed the seal of the City of Irondale on the 21st day of January, year 2025. Sergeant Terry Lewis. Chiefs told me I gotta take a picture with you.
Okay, all right, we got to do it then.
Just stay here.
All
Well, uh-oh. Not too bad. Well, I'm gonna lay this down. Well, Sergeant Lewis told me he was retiring. He told me he didn't want off circumstances. I had to beg him to come tonight. So one of the things we want to do is recognize him. We got a few things to recognize him, but a few names he's been known by. Some of you may not know, Mayor kind of touched on it. Glenn Flash was one of them. Sergeant Lewis, right, like the mayor said, the biggest thing everybody knows about is SRO. He touched a lot of people in our community. Well, our fire chief, who now has kids, was there when you were at school. So we just wanted to give you a couple of things here and move on to your next chapter. I know all those guys back there are going to miss you. I'm going to miss you, and you can always come back and visit.
Yes, sir.
So we just got a shadow box for you. And we also have a retirement bag.
Ah,
So when you're speeding in that Corvette on the road.
that's right.
That's great. That's great.
She's already said you're not getting motorcycles.
Yeah.
Y'all come up to Mayor,
Get it right one more time.
you want her across this?
Thank you. That's right.
That's a great time.
That's right.
And while they are clearing the room, one of the things that I forgot to add to my report for We Got Game Night, there is a Family Feud is going to be held again at the event. And if you would like to put together a group to play Family Feud, you can register at www.tinyurl.com/Irondale Feud. And this will be on the city website as well as the app, probably in a couple of days if you didn't write that down. But again, tinyurl.com/Irondale Feud. Council President, that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. If there's anybody that would like to file out that has not done so, now would be the time. Everybody staying put? All right. With the mayor's report concluded, thank you very much for that. We'll go ahead and go into council member reports. Councilman London, we'll start with you, sir.
Thank you. Sergeant Lewis got out of here early. I just want to commend him on all the years. Just comment to what's already been said. He was there when my kids were there in school, and if there was a basketball game, there was a football game, or whatever game, one guy was constant. It was him being there. Even though when he wasn't an SRO officer, he would still show up and support those kids. So I really, really appreciate his friendship, not just because he's a police officer, but just a great, great guy. And we hate to lose him. But I understand that he and his wife got some things they want to do, and it's a great time to do it. So thank him for all his service. And all the Mark Meadows and all the things that we're doing for him, and this is an example, Sergeant Lewis and Lieutenant Meadows, that you give people their flowers while they're still here. We don't wait till they're gone and say, hey, he was a great guy. So I was glad to see we do something for Sergeant Lewis while he was here. Mayor softball game, yeah, I'm a pretty good softball player myself. I'm just an athlete. So if you need somebody to play first, second, short, right field, left field, center, whatever, I'm your guy. So it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. So looking forward to that. But the Ruffner baseball, I drive by there all the time. I'm tell you, to be part of it 20 plus 30 years ago with my little boys playing and coaching and commissioning and all that stuff, and fixing the fields on Saturday mornings and all that, and Friday night, and being in the concession stands. Man, I'm tell you what, it does my heart good to see that we really got something good going on for our kids in the city of Irondale. And I want to say thank you to Rich for accepting the spot. And we're looking for some big things to be happening at Ruffner Baseball and Softball Complex. We already decided Mayor's going to do the first pitch for the baseball, and I'm going to do the first pitch for the softball. He don't know that yet. This is the first he heard that.
Yeah, I just found that out tonight.
But we're looking forward to all that has to offer as far as that concerned. But one thing I want to do. For many years now, I work in the special needs for the schools, high schools, and it's kind of dear to my heart to see. Again, if you're having a bad day, spend a day in my class sometimes, then you forget about all the negative stuff that happens in your life. But I have a grandson and a granddaughter who has autism, and it's on the spectrum, and it breaks my heart, but I love them still, and my daughter and my son loves them still, and we really did. Matter of fact, he lives in Virginia now, Norfolk, Virginia. She got married a Navy guy, so that's where they're stationed right now in Norfolk. But he has autism, and he's just a great kid, a lot of energy, and really love on him. He really loves his pawpaw, and so. But my daughter wrote a book about him, and it's called The Amazing Jace, written by, my daughter's name is Cameron London, graduated Shays Valley, go Mounties, and Grambling State University, go Tigers. And she wrote a book about her son and my granddaughter, Naya, in here, and it's called The Amazing Jace. And I'm going to get a copy and put it in our new library. I'm not going to put it in the old library. I'm going to put it in our new library. And if you want to order a copy, and I know some of us have somebody may have autism. You may know somebody that may have autism in your family or in your neighbors or whatever. a great book for them to read. Very easy, great pictures in here. It's just a great book. You can go on Amazon and get it. It's cost you $7, so that's not a lot. That's a cheeseburger, cheaper than a cheeseburger. If you know somebody, I would say go out and get you a copy for your child that you know to have autism. You know, autism is there's some very, very intelligent young people who has autism. Autism is not a death sentence. It's an opportunity for all of us to get involved with our young people who may not know. Who may not know. You just can't look at them and say he has autism. We may not know he has it. And so go out and get you a copy of it. This is my copy, The Amazing Jace by Cameron London. Thank you, Mr. President.
Fair enough. Thank you, Councilman London. Councilwoman McQuair.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much for being here. First, I'd like to congratulate and thank those that submitted proposals for the Martin Luther King Jr. Projects. These are very impressive, worthwhile projects, and I look forward to seeing everything that's going on with the projects. Our Senior Activities Center Director, I know, will be very excited. I'm very excited. I like the booklet idea with engaging the citizens. That's very important. And Ms. Vafiades with the microchips, that's very important too. And the photography. Every project is worthy, and I'm excited and grateful that you submitted your ideas. The second thing is really for our council members. I've already met with our city clerk, but everyone else in the audience, I want to encourage you to submit. I'm the CDA liaison, Commercial Development Authority, and they announced that they have a vacancy that's coming up in March. It's got to be filled by March 18th. We'll need to do this before our first council meeting, Council President, so that we can interview the candidates that are interested in serving. City Clerk will be getting that information out to anyone that is interested in serving as a director on the Commercial Development Authority. The CDA also had elections at the meeting that was held at 4 p.m. today, and they have elected Catherine Hogue to serve as the chair. Trey Hawkins is vice chair. David Pugh is stepping down and serving as treasurer. He's got, as some of you may know, he's got a big responsibility with the builders. So he's going to be very busy with that. And the secretary is going to be Mark Hume, will serve in that capacity. Mr. Rawson, who is the fifth director, is not going to be seeking reappointment. So everyone that's interested, please submit your names. Additional information will be coming from our city clerk. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilwoman McQuair.
Who's selected as the president?
Miss Catherine Hogue. Hogwood. Thank you. Thank you for that, Mayor Stewart. I wrote it down incorrectly. I apologize. Catherine Hogwood.
That concludes your
my
report? Okay.
Yes.
Councilman Box.
Thank you, Council President. Echoing Councilman London's comments, echoing Councilwoman Cuellar's comments, it makes it easy on me because I get to echo all these good things.
Why do you think I go last, man?
Exactly. It's what do I say? So we are having the Mountain Lake Estates yearly stockholders meeting, which is the neighborhood, on the 26th of this month. And I've been inviting other neighborhoods to get with me about their neighborhood meetings when they have them, but hopefully we'll hear some of those pretty soon coming up that they'll let me know. Once again, very proud of our police and fire department doing the things that they do day in, day out. Thankless job, but they're every day. So our Senior Citizen Center, the director and I are supposed to meet soon to go over some plans that she's wanting to get implemented more. So I'm looking forward to see what those are. That's all of my reports.
Thank you, Councilman Box. Councilman Sims.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for braving the Arctic weather we've been having. You're all probably praying for spring as much as I have been. I'd like to see the butterflies at that new garden very soon. Those service projects are just amazing. I think the mayor said this is the third year, and our citizens just keep coming up with just the most amazing things. So it's great to see the citizens involved and volunteering their time and coming up with these ideas on their own. And I think these are great. Congrats to Sergeant Lewis in his retirement. Second Tuesday of each month at 6:30, the Holiday Gardens Neighborhood Association has their meeting at the Senior Activity Center. We had a good turnout for our first one of the year. And anybody in Holiday Gardens, please come out. And that's all I have.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you, Councilman Sims. As far as my report goes tonight, anybody that spends a minute of their time giving back to the city or coming up with ways to improve or make something better or contribute, I always appreciate that. So for all the paintings that are about to come in for Black History Month, for the service projects around MLK, all of the people that participate in citizen engagement, like I said, any other, and I'm missing a ton of stuff. But any citizen that gives a minute of their time back to the city, it means a ton to me, because that means that you obviously love where you live and you want to participate. So I would take that as a huge kind of endorsement that we're moving in the right direction if all these citizens are choosing to participate. So thank you very, very much. I do want to say, Mayor, I did not get the gentleman's name, so I apologize ahead of time. But I have this thing where when I leave for work, I pretty much cross the recycling and the garbage truck pretty much at the same time. And there was a gentleman, and he was coming up my road, and he was hanging on my side, and we just exchanged pleasantries real quick. Well, he I guess remembered what my truck looked like, and I was leaving the gas station the other night. He was like, "Hey, is that black truck yours?" and everything. And I spent a brief moment with him on the sidewalk in front of Irondale Chevron. And this young man will go unnamed, but just a fantastic interaction, and just a testament to the people that we have on staff here. And then that being said, we know we've had to deal with some extremely brutal temperatures and weather and stuff like that. We've got one item on the agenda that may kind of speak to one of those, but for all the people out there on the ready line to deal with our infrastructure and keep us protected and safe, I just say thank you very much, because I know I wouldn't want to be 10 feet down in a hole getting sprayed with water at 10 degrees. So think about those when you're snug in your house and everything like that, and all is going well. Think about that guy or that girl that's in that hole, putting that pipe back together. So for that, I just say thank you to all of our public works and first responders. That concludes my report for the evening. One other thing, Council Cuellar, I believe on variance, we have an opening. Unfortunately, when we lost Mr. Graham, it created a void in the variance board, and we need to address that at some point in time in the near future. Butch reminded me about that at our last P&Z meeting.
Okay.
Fair enough? Copy that. That concludes my report officially. That being said, at this time, before we get into the agenda and deliberation, we would take any public comments to the council on non-agenda items. So if you have an agenda and your item of concern is printed on it, this is not your time. Any non-agenda items, we would love to hear your comments. Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to try to talk fast because I have 3 things. So I'm not going to go into any of them in any great depth. I am asking, once again, if the city would consider forming a committee so that we can get parents more involved in the schools. It's not to say bad schools. It's not to say not good educators, it's to say parents, let's understand what the school reports are. How can we reach out to different people to encourage parents, grandparents, volunteers in the city to work with our students to help because I think that's what it's going to take. It takes more than schools, and it takes, our city has been so awesome. That's Jefferson County school systems. It's not Irondale schools, but we support them. But we still need to figure out if we can get our parents more involved. We can talk to the boards of education, we can talk to principals, we can talk to a lot of different, we can go to Montgomery. What's the best practices where schools are doing better, where parents are more involved, or if it's not parents, what is it? So need some sort of a room, and then a way of communicating with individuals who are interested, And then, of course, bring a small and quick report back to the city, because you'd help give us a forum to try to get people involved. And if they're not interested, well, then they're not interested. But that was my ask. One of the other things is I have brought some paperwork. I know that it's been said before here. I think Sergey had mentioned that we need bus drivers for our schools. It's not hard. I mean, but you have to have a CDL. You get insurance and retirement, competitive salary, field trips and extracurricular activities if you have time, and it impacts the students' lives. But you do have to have a CDL, excuse me. I have extras of these if you want one. If you want to give it to a family member that you might know that drives a truck, some kind of a truck, I have about 6 of these printed and can bring more next time. And lastly, I did stomp around a little bit on ClearGov, but I don't have extra time, so I'm not prepared to give a report. It was very easy to use. So I'll try to, next time if I don't talk too much, I'll try to bring it was very easy to export files, to fiddle around with them. You can add columns, delete columns, hide columns. It was good.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Any other comments on non-agenda items? Yes, ma'am.
Francesca Roscoe, 5018 Janet Lane. Many of you may not know, but last Monday, a semi-truck with 2 20,000-pound spools of steel coil turned over on Janet Lane, which is the street that I live on. Someone could have been killed if those coils had gone into the house that one of them landed on, and also in their backyard. That truck had no business being in a residential neighborhood, period. I don't care what story he told about GPS or whatever. That never should have happened. It never should have happened. And if that thing had gone through that house, those people would have been killed. Multiple lawsuits against that company, the city. And I have been up here before begging for speed breakers or some type of traffic quietening. And since Publix has opened, we all love Publix. Traffic has picked up coming into the Regency East subdivision from Abigail Lane to Janet Lane to Regency East Drive out to Old Leeds Road. We need speed breakers because that traffic, that road just veers like this. I've had a neighbor who, before all this traffic, had their mailbox taken out twice by that. So we need speed breakers on Janet Lane and tonnage limit signs coming into Regency East subdivision from Old Leeds Road and from Abigail Lane. That's my request. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Do we have any other comments on non-agenda items? All right, with no more comments on non-agenda items, we'll move on to our next piece of business. Any reports of any boards or non-council committees? Any reports of any boards or non-council committees? All right, moving on to the next piece of business, which will be the council deliberation on the agenda items. So similar story, we have a couple of public hearings tonight. We'll go ahead and keep them in order as listed on the agenda, but when it comes time, once we have an agenda, it's been deliberated, and we have an actual formal agenda, and I open it up for public comments on agenda items only. I would say if it's got a public hearing centered around it, then we're going to hold those comments in that public hearing. Okay, so if there's an agenda item that you care about, then that's great, speak to it. But if your agenda item is like, say for instance, number 18 has a public hearing, number 19 has a public hearing, number 20 has a public hearing, item number 21 has a public hearing. So if you're interested in commenting on those items, wait till that public hearing. Anything else is free game. Fair enough? Copy. All right. We're going to go ahead and just kind of move through them item by item. We'll do this as quickly as possible because I know it's cold outside. It's only getting colder by the minute. We got 22 items, so let's go. All right, item number 1, Resolved that Resolution 2024 R214A amends Resolution 2024 R214, increasing the amount of military leave from 168 hours to 408 hours per calendar year, and authorizes the submission of this resolution to the Personnel Board of Jefferson County. So the way I understand that, this is a cleanup. We had the terminology physical in there when we passed it originally. This is just changing that and redacting that to calendar year. Councilman London, do you have any questions or comments on that?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions.
Councilman Box?
Good with the cleanup.
All right, Councilman Sams?
Is this just a personnel board request? I mean, they go off of calendar year, and so we're matching up with that.
City record has always been on a calendar year.
Oh, got it. Okay.
All right.
No questions.
All right, I've got no questions. Do we agree to keep this on consent?
Yes.
All right. Item number 2, resolve the resolution 2025 R12 authorizes Mayor James E. Stewart Jr. or his designee to execute a community grant program agreement with the Jefferson County Commission to accept a grant in the amount of $3,000 for the Irondale Senior Activity Center. I understand that 2 weeks ago we approved an expense regarding the expense regarding the senior center. There was a grant that was supposed to fund that. Mayor, stop me if I'm incorrect.
No, you're
This
correct.
is that grant that funded that expense, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Councilman London, any questions?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions.
Councilman Box?
Very thankful.
Councilman Sams?
No question. Just want to thank Joe Knight for this grant.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Commissioner Joe Knight. I have no questions. Do we agree to keep this on consent?
Yes.
All right. Item number 3, resolve the resolution 2025 R13 dictates a portion of Montevallo Road in honor of Mayor Dan Prater. Sorry.
You're killing me off, Council President.
Mayor, do you want to speak to 3, 4, 5, and 6
I
all in
can.
one time?
Yes, I can
Okay.
go ahead and do that.
Thank you.
When I was the city clerk in 2017, we came up and we provided a dedication on Old Leeds Road to Mother Teresa at EWTN or whoever, I can't remember. Who's the person at EWTN?
It was Mother Angelica.
Mother Angelica. Sorry, I got
That's all right.
got it wrong, but
We're human.
but I appreciate it. But anyway, it was around 2016, 2017 that I put together, when I was the city clerk, a resolution because she had done so much in the city of Irondale. And we wanted to not go through the process of trying to change the name of Old Leeds Road, but to name a portion of it because it was right across the street from EWTN. We had this big celebration and all of that. Well, it got me to thinking about this year and the tragedies that have happened this year. But we've also had some great mayors to be able to serve that are no longer with us. Alan Ramsey was the mayor between 2004, I think 2000 and 2004. I ran for office. Alan gave me my first donation when I ran for city council, and he and I had a relationship before then. But I wanted to honor Alan. Alan lives off of Overton Road, so we wanted to dedicate a section of that. Then Montevallo Road is Dan Prater. Dan Prater lives off of Montevallo Road, but we wanted to put it in a place where it was visible and for people to see it. And Sharon is here with her tonight, is in daughter. They came out tonight to be here for the vote, but we wanted to make sure that when people went through Montevallo Road, they knew that Dan Prater, who was one of the mayors here at the city. So I wanted to do both the mayors. Now, I can't take credit for Mark Meadows at Ruffner. This came from one of our employees as we were sitting and going through a brainstorming session. You all know him as Boo Wallace. His government name is Michael Wallace. And as we were sitting, and Boo is right there. So Boo, stand up, show everybody who you are. But we were having a meeting, and Boo said that morning while he was coming into the work, the Lord spoke to him and said, why don't we name a portion of Ruffner Road in honor of Mark? And then Sean worked in this building. Everybody in this building knew Sean. Sean cleaned up this building, and we wanted to make sure that we did not forget him as well. That's where the 4 dedications came from. We just want to be able to honor the people that have served the city of Irondale well, and we always want to remember them. And by naming a portion of these streets, and it's not going to change the name, but we'll get a nice plaque similar to the one for Mother Angelica on Old Leeds. They all will be honored with the same thing in a celebration as one, and once we get those plaques back to the city.
We'll go ahead. We'll take them one by one because I think they deserve that. So, Councilman London, we're gonna just come make comments or any questions about the dedicated portion of Montevallo Road in order of in honor of Mayor Dan Prater. Anything? Any words?
No word, but I'm just gonna, my comments gonna be for all of us. So I want to say anything else after this. We're trying to get through it, but well deserved for all of them. Well appreciated, and I know the families will really appreciate it. And I'm just happy that someone thought about those guys and to do this. This is a great gesture.
Councilman McQuarrie?
Yeah, comments and a few questions. I think it's a great idea. Do you by chance know the estimated cost for the signage?
The estimated cost will not exceed $3,000.
Okay. Is this budgeted?
It's budgeted, will come out of the general fund.
Very good, thank you. That's all
Councilman
I have.
Box?
Echoing Councilman Linda's comments on everyone here that's well deserved, and good to see that we're moving forward. And once again, Councilwoman McQuaylor checking us out on fundage.
Councilman Sims?
I'll also speak to all four. I mean, I think it's great for the city to recognize all four of these gentlemen. They each did an amazing job for our city in different ways, and fully supported.
Thank you. As far as Dan Prater, Sharon, I've been in your house a handful of times now, whether it was something regarding my full-time job or this part-time job. Dan always extended a hand to me, and I appreciated him, and I appreciated your hospitality whenever I came by. So I'm happy to see this. Thank you. Item number 4 would be Resolution 2025 R14, dictates a portion of Overton Road in honor of Mayor Alan Ramsey. We've discussed that. Are there any comments that anybody would like to say about Mr. Ramsey? Okay. We would move to item number 5, resolve that Resolution 2025 R15 dedicates a portion of Ruffner Road in honor of Lieutenant Mark Meadows. Anything anybody wants to say there? Okay, gotcha. I appreciate you stepping out and putting that on the docket. Appreciate that very much. And then item number 6, resolved that 2025 R16 dedicates a portion of 20th Street South in honor of Sean Littleton. I never knew the gentleman, but obviously he was highly valued around here. So any comments before we move past these 4 items?
When he was at an event, Sean was there.
Okay.
Early and late, always gone. Sean was always there. And so, thank you. We just built different, right? Yeah, that's right.
Do we agree to leave items 3, 4, 5, and 6 on consent?
Yes.
Yes.
Outstanding. All right, item number 7. Resolve that Resolution 2025 R17 authorizes the execution of an agreement with River Tree Systems, Inc. for the performance of sales, use, lease, lodging, and business license audits on the city behalf. I understand this to be a renewal, and as far as what they charge us is a percentage of what they find. Anything that you need to add to this, Mayor?
No, and I think it's hourly, $75 an hour. They basically charge us, but they've been here since I was here in 2012. They do a very good job of identifying certain sectors that needs a little bit more watchful eyes on them, and they've been very good to the city. I would recommend that we keep this resolution and approve it to allow them to continue to do that for the city.
All right, Councilman London?
No question.
Councilwoman McQuarrie?
Yeah, I appreciate knowing that it's based on a percentage of what they find, and it's $75 an hour. And we do have some history on what they found. Do the cost that they charge, what they find, does what they find exceed the cost?
I've never seen that in the 12 years that I've been here where the cost exceeded the amount that was collected.
That was the question I'm asking. We're collecting more than what they're charging us, right?
Well, I thought I just answered the question. The question was, have their expense exceeded the amount of collection? I'm saying since the 12 years that
Sir, I'm asking the city clerk.
but I'm also the
Okay.
CEO that's over the city clerk.
It seems that we, mayor's provided one answer. If you're directing that specifically to the
I
city
am.
clerk and
I am.
everything, it sounds
And
like
we're
that
in the middle
information is
of
not at her.
Of a deliberation, Councilor London, Council President Spivey, and I was asking our city clerk,
Understood.
okay?
It
Thank
sounds
you.
like she doesn't have the answer to your
Yes,
question
and
at
I
the moment.
appreciate her stating that.
Thank
you.
Any other questions or comments on this item?
No other comments.
Okay. Councilman Box?
Thank you, Council President. So this helps us track any Airbnb misusage, any other kinds of stuff like that for business licenses. It's just strictly business license. Very good. And you're deferring to the mayor's answer for the question that Councilwoman Quaylar had. And Mayor, you wanted to reiterate again for me, please, what you said, sir?
What I just said, because I'm not new to this rodeo, we've never received a bill from them that was higher than the amount of money that was sent as a collection for the revenue that they identified that should have been paid to the city.
Wonderful, Mayor. Thank you so much. That's good news, and therefore I think we should move forward with it.
Councilman Sims?
Everything that I would have asked has been answered, so I'm good.
Okay. And I'm good as well. Do we agree to keep this on consent?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 8, resolve that resolution 2025 R18 approves the provision of in-kind services by the City of Marty's GM St. Patrick's Day Party on March 15th, 2025, and declaration of public purpose for the same. This is about the second or third time we've done that. Basically, what we're providing for is the public safety aspect with some police officers up there, and then obviously the environmental impact by supplying a dump truck for them to dispose of excess trash generated by the event. So that's the public service there, and the funding source would be my discretionary fund. Any comments, Councilman London?
No, I'm just looking forward to it.
Absolutely, it is
Good
fun.
event. Yep.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions.
Thank you. Councilman Box?
I'm good with it.
Councilman Sims?
Thanks for putting it on the agenda. Looking forward to it.
Thank you very much. Do we agree to keep this on the consent?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 9, resolve that resolution 2025 R19 authorizes Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. or his designee to purchase 25 alcohol sensor FSTs from Intoximeters Inc. in an amount not to exceed $11,000. Mayor, if you want to say some things, I know a few of these items came up in order here, and I was kind of surprised. So anything that you care to say about 9, 10, or 11 for that matter?
Well, short story is that currently we only have, I think, 7 breathalyzers. The name you see now is the fancy name.
Yeah.
But they're just breathalyzers. We want to make sure that each officer has one in their car. Same thing with the tent meters. I think they have maybe 7 or 8. We want to make sure that every car is equipped to be able to have the same thing. When they stop somebody, if they don't have one, they don't have to wait for another officer to come up to be able to do it. And then the final thing is that we have body cameras, but we don't have dash cameras in all of the cars. And the 327 is to put a dash camera in every car as well, which protects the people that they're stopping, but it also protects the officer when people say that they've done something that is not correct. We can go back now with the body cam and the dash cam, and we have video of the entire scene to be able to determine what really happened at that particular stop.
Councilman London, any questions or comments on the 3 items?
What's the range on intent? What's that? What is that?
30%.
What's the range on legal tent?
Legal tent.
Anything below 32% in the state of Alabama is illegal.
Above 32%.
Below
Below.
32%.
Below
So it's a measurement of light that passes through the glass
Okay.
is how that works. So any percentage of light below 32% can't pass through the glass. Is
I'm sorry.
illegal.
We're not talking about all these.
I'd say let's go ahead and let's take them let's go ahead and do it in one clump.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have any questions for the first one.
Okay, gotcha.
Breathalyzer out.
So you're good on all 3?
I'm a good old, okay. 3.
Okay.
I'm surprised y'all don't have dash cams.
So we've had dash cameras in the past, and the systems that we've used have slowly become outdated, and it's not something that we put into the cars immediately, just because you see there's a lot of cost involved in it. But this platform integrates our body cameras, our tasers, and the car cameras into one cloud-based evidence platform where everything's right there together. You click on one incident and you get all of the views.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, it's really.
And that is Officer Hassett,
Yeah,
and
Sergeant Hassett.
Sergeant Hassett, and he's our tech guy.
I am.
He's the guy that flies the drones
I do.
and all
Yes,
that
sir.
stuff. Yeah. So my question is, can we put these in the fire engine also?
Yes. Yeah, they have a full public safety lineup. Yeah.
So
Where are you
how
giving
much would it
Chief
cost?
Let us work through this expense, Councilman London, before we go spend another.
Sure. Absolutely.
Because, you know, when they're at the scene of an accident. cars
Yeah, that's
fly
true.
by, Cars fly by and you see police officers and firemen get run over all the time, so just thinking about you guys.
Good idea, Councilman. I like it.
School buses have them, so yeah.
Yeah, School bus is it? Yeah, school bus has them too. That's right. Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay. Councilwoman Cuellar?
Thank you for being here.
Oh, you're welcome.
We're asking the questions on all three.
Yeah,
of
let's just
them?
take them since we've got our specialists up here and
That-
everything
that
like that.
sounds
Let's take them
good.
all three.
All right. The only thing I have for all three of them is this budgeted, and if so, what is our source?
It's budgeted general fund
Okay, that
because the
answers-
327 is being paid over 5 years, so I don't want anybody to think
that
that we're.
answers. Yeah, that answers for all three.
Yeah.
I do have questions on the third one, on page 4. Let me get to that. When I'm looking at the chart and the yearly amounts, I noticed that our cameras, the cameras, do they become our cameras?
So this is the TAP, what Axon refers to as the TAP program. So it's a 5-year plan. At year 2.5, we get brand new equipment.
Okay.
Just like our body cameras, our tasers. As soon as we hit the 2.5-year mark, we get the latest and greatest from Axon, and it doesn't affect the contract. At the end of the 5 years, we can keep the equipment. Well, we
Okay.
keep the equipment no matter what. But if we sign another 5-year contract, obviously they replace it with new equipment then.
Okay.
So the equipment never is over 2.5 years old.
Okay, that helps a lot. And I noticed that we start out at 60,400, and in year 5 we increase. So at 2.5 years we get new ones, but in year 5 it's no longer as new. And I'm looking at this. If I get a vehicle, the value begins to depreciate, but in this case it goes up.
It does. And honestly, I don't have the breakdown of the contract.
I can give it to you,
But
Sergeant
there
Hassett.
is something in there, and I don't know if it's a licensing agreement or something.
Well, it seems to go up every year.
Yeah.
Not just in the
Yes,
last
but
year.
At year 5 it
But
really bumps
it
up.
escalates each year, and I would say that it just has more to do with financing than it does to do
yes,
with the value of the
Of the
cameras.
product, yes.
Yes.
That answers my questions. Thank you.
All right. Councilman Box?
I'll just go from this direction. I think it's a great idea, especially the dashboard cams. I know having some direct involvement with police officers, there are times when those body cams can fall off, and that dash cam has been very valuable.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm all for it.
Any questions or comments on the others items?
I'm good with those as well.
Okay.
Those are income generators.
Perfect. Councilman Sims?
I think they're all great. I think, yeah, every officer that goes out into the field should have all the equipment they need, and so I'm glad we're getting it to them. I was just curious about the dash cams. We approved this tonight. When do those start coming in? I guess, do we
So
install those ourselves? Do we take the car somewhere?
That contract includes, Axon requires that they do the installation, so they will fly a technician out. When the equipment arrives here, they'll fly somebody out, use our shop, parking lot, whatever they need to do to install them. Turnaround time or lead time on it should be about 2 months as far as getting the order, the equipment here and getting them installed.
So, starting in April, all of our cars should be
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you so much.
And I don't have any questions. You've answered them all. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Council
just for,
President, can I just say that all of the items that I'm sponsoring came from officers.
Fantastic.
They submitted all of this to me.
Okay.
So I just got my name by it, but I didn't didn't create it. It came from the officers inside the house.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that designation. Obviously, I know that a few months back, you kind of, you might have been doing this informally a few months back, but formally, I know we recognized a lot of people and officers for their ideas. So I appreciate you continuing that stimulation. For transparency, what we just discussed with item number 9, which is the item 2025 R19, which was the breathalyzers. Item number 10, resolve that resolution 2025 R20 authorizes Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. or his designee to purchase 30 Enforcer 2 tent meters from Laser Labs Inc. in an amount not to exceed $2,692. And item number 11, that's also been discussed, resolve that resolution 2025 R21 authorizes Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. or his designee to purchase 30 dash cameras from Axiom Enterprises Inc. in an amount not to exceed $327,132 over a period of 5 years. Based on comments and any comments and questions, do we agree to keep 9, 10, and 11 on consent?
Yes.
Right on. All right, item number 12, resolve that resolution 2025 R22 authorizes the purchase of a standard garage in an amount not to exceed $11,548.50 from Garage Buildings for shooting range upgrades for the Irondale Police Department. I understand this is maybe replacing some aged infrastructure. Anything that you want yourself or Chief or anybody else to
Well,
speak
I'm
on?
going to defer to Officer Beadle. He's the one that's responsible for this resolution. I'll let him share with you all how we got to this point.
Well, this is a bit of a complicated process, so let me talk about the two first things that created this situation. One, in the fiscal year 21-22, Trustville pulled out of the range. We worked the range together, and our budget for the range and ammunition is $13,000 last year. The issue that's come up over the period of time is Trustville doesn't have a full-time person out there working anymore, and we're still doing the same amount of training out there, which creates damage because it's basically lead flying downrange and tearing stuff up. So we have to maintain all the grounds plus build the training equipment. And the reason I asked for this garage, and when we say garage, it's a metal building that will be on a slab. It's 20 feet by 30 feet, 20 feet deep, 30 feet wide, 12 feet high. And it'll be split into three areas, and each one of those will have a door and a specific lock. One will be for targets and training supplies that are used by anybody that comes to the range. It's a standard. The other one will be our training and equipment that needs to be secured, and the third one will be for our maintenance equipment. The reason that we need that, currently we have 3 buildings there. All 3 of these buildings are sheds that have either been donated or repurposed. They're very dilapidated. We're having issues with our equipment rusting and molding on the paper, and we can't secure the equipment you use to maintain out there properly. And honestly, I don't want a $3,000 zero return getting stolen. The other upgrades that we need, the back of a range is a berm. The berm is dirt. It's shot. So as you shoot, it digs out and it creates a problem with erosion. I've been working very closely with Public Works. They're going to come in. We have to take all the eroded dirt, put it back in, and pack it in. But then we have to replace what's called the shooting gallery, which is the back and the front where the targets are. They're made of, we have 3 rows in the front of railroad ties. Railroad ties are not cheap. We haven't replaced them since I've been here. I think it's been 4 or 5 years. You put 10,000 rounds into that, it just needs to be replaced. And if you replace the bottom, you might as well replace the ones that are on top. So if you look at the grades of each one of these, a railroad tie is approximately a grade A is $25 per. It goes all the way down to grade D. I would like to get a B or C, which is about between, it can run anywhere by the group that you get from $10 to $15, but we need approximately 450 to 500 of those, so that price goes up.
Officer Beadle.
Yes, sir.
That's next council meeting agenda.
That's
Don't sell them. Don't sell them everything tonight. We'll just leave it with the shed.
It's a
With the
great
garage.
training location out there. We do a lot of really good stuff, but we need some help getting the equipment we need to maintain the level of training we've been doing.
Councilman Lennon, any
Yeah,
questions?
one question. I know one time, it was open to citizens to come out and train. Is that still available?
So yes, sir. The chief has actually talked about it, putting on several different things. One of those would be a firearms familiarization, and we'll have myself and other officers out there who are firearms instructors. So people who own their own guns but don't feel comfortable, they can come out there. We can work with them. People that don't understand or scared of guns and would like to know more about it, we have that, but it's in a controlled environment.
Are these sheds gonna have power?
Sorry, sir.
Are they gonna have power to these sheds?
The one that we do, we're going to run power to it.
Which you have cameras and everything hooked up?
We have cameras. The cameras are about a decade old. That's
Okay.
Next council meeting. That's next council meeting.
Councilwoman Quayle?
Yes, officer, thank you for the update. I have been out to the shooting range several years ago, and even then I noticed that the equipment, the targets that you had, all of it was really dilapidated and really needed to be upgraded. And I'm certainly supportive of what you're trying to do, and I'm glad to hear that there's some additional work that you'd like to do. I did speak with Chief Wiggins about it before the council meeting, and I would certainly be hopeful that what Trustville did, that this will also be a reality for Irondale, because our law enforcement officers do need that. And so thank you for providing this information for us. All I need to know, is this budgeted, and what is our source?
Budgeted, yes. Some funding source, general fund.
Thank you. Thank you, officer.
Councilman Box?
Thank you, Council President. Thank you, Officer Beal. I think this is great. I actually think we should give you more money tonight because we need to move expeditiously, but I guess since this is all that's on the agenda tonight, we'll stick with that. Thank you.
Councilman
Sims?
Box. Now he'll take 35 grand if you want to up it.
Well, here's where I'm at on it, Mayor.
See that?
Officer Beal, excuse me, Council, since let me retract since. I don't know how often our officers have to qualify, but I would imagine at a minimum every year. And some more than that, and then new officers, when we get in, they get on the FTO card, they may have qualified at the academy, but we actually want to see how they shoot as well. So if you could speak to that a little bit,
So Alabama A-Post requires that you have 2 qualifications per year, and that qualification is a 50-round set of fire that you have to score 70% on.
Okay.
And I'll be honest with you, so I've been working on the range in a volunteer capacity since I got here because I'm passionate about it.
Yes, sir.
I put 453 hours of my free time into the range because I want our officers at this department to be able to be at the highest level of training. So I'll ask you this: if you had to do anything that would save a life or save your friend's life, would you just want to do it twice a year?
I understand.
At the bare minimum.
I understand.
I don't believe in that. I think that we need to train not only just shooting, but moving with the gun, doing different things, tactics and you can't do that anywhere but a range.
And I think you use multiple weapons as well. So as Council President, if the body would agree, I think an original proposal was 35,000, Mayor.
It was 35.
I would have no problem in increasing the amount that's presented here to the 35 tonight, so we wouldn't have to visit again for a while.
I think it says 35.
Well, this one says.
No, it says 11.
58.50.
Oh, okay, which one? I thought it said 35.
I think that was a previous one, Councilman McQuillan.
Yeah.
Officer Beetle, you got any more proposals you want to talk about while you're up here? You got them going. You better strike while the iron is hot.
I didn't understand why we revised it. I mean, I thought it was 35,000.
Well, the reason we revised it because we wanted to make sure that we provided you with the information that we had the documentation for, because we didn't want to hear, well, you submitted this for 35, but you only got documentation for 11. If you all want to do the 35, we great with that, but we just wanted to make sure that we had the proper documentation and request the amount that lined up with the documentation.
Okay, so the next question is, the 35,000 is budgeted, right? It would be budgeted?
Yes, yes.
Okay, and it would come out of the general fund, so if you were to bump it up to 35, what would that entail?
So, what I was speaking about earlier,
Mhm.
the
Cameras,
the
the cameras I talked
that's
about,
the,
yeah, there we go.
the London
36.
cameras. The initial building that I would like to build, the slab is between 6 and 8,000, and then the building's about 12,000 when you get it all together. So that's 20,000. The remaining 15,000 would go into rebuilding the berm, handling. One of the things we have is we have sprinkler systems are there, but the sprinkler systems are about as older than all my kids, and it needs to be reworked and gone through because we need to maintain the grass out there for the entire year, and so that doesn't always happen. I replaced the front and back berms, like I said. The camera systems, we would rewire those and put those in there. Also, we have a second area over there that we used for secondary shooting. So if you have somebody on the range, you go over there and you work on the small functions and repetition. I would increase the berm behind that, so it's safer for anything that's behind there. Even though it's not, we like to have that taken care of us. And the most important thing right now, we just built a deck. All the labor came from police officers who went out there and volunteered and built the deck. It was a deck that we got a price for $16,000. We built it for less than $5,000.
That's a good deck.
And I can't thank my brother officers for helping me, but the building that we have out there is a FEMA trailer. It's pre-Katrina FEMA trailer.
Yeah.
We teach classes in there.
Yes.
We train in there. And when you have something that's old, we are continuously new. I have to replace the floor in there at some point in time, which means there's a lot of work there's a lot of maintenance. And it's just, since Trustville is no longer putting money in,
Right.
You could give me more than that and I would spend it and be able to give you receipts for everything, but I'd appreciate the 35,000.
I was gonna ask legal, Lauren stepped out too. If we do this 35,000, are we needing to include that description, a summary of what you just said, so that it's clear that the 35 is not just for the garage buildings, for the storage range, but includes what Officer Beadle just stated. She's just coming back in now. So I don't have a problem with the 35,000 as long as we can get that amended so that it summarizes what you just said.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Sims, I want to go ahead and make sure we acknowledge you.
A lot's happened in the last few minutes.
Indeed.
First of all, Officer Beadle, thank you so much for all your time, effort, energy that you put into this. I don't know if you wrote the proposal, but that
I did,
we
sir,
got.
yes, sir.
Okay, well, everything in the proposal, I think we need. I'm just going to read this for the citizens out there who didn't get to see this. This is a list of different agencies that trained at the range in 2024. So these people are coming into Irondale to our range, and he just described what this looks like. The ATF, Homeland Security Investigations, EWTN, Brinks, United States Secret Service, the Federal Police, Federal Security Forces, Central Alabama Firearms Training, Tarrant Police Department, Sanford Police Department, Common Ground Training Group, the Railroad Police, U.S. Attorney's Office, and the United States Marshal Service. So I'd love that, and our chaplain. And I would love that the next time some of these different agencies come out, that they see the vision that's in your head and not what they currently see. I think our officers should have everything they need to be everything they can be. In the event someone does have to pull their firearm, I want them to be 100% confident in what they're doing. And I think this will help in that. So I fully supported the whole amount.
Mayor?
According to the city attorney, she said the only thing we need to do is just change it to improvements in general, and
I
that
was
to be
thinking-
sufficient
Good.
for the
Thank you.
35 grand.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. As far as my comments go, fantastic, man. I can feel the conviction. that's kind of pouring out there. So obviously it's manifesting in a pretty strong result this evening. So thank you for everything that you do. And once again, building back on my comment about anybody that gives any time to the city out of their own time, it's very appreciated. So thank you very much for what you do. And like I said, the passion behind the training. So Councilman London, coming back around to you, are you good with this adjustment? Councilwoman Quayer, you're good?
I'm good.
Councilman
Yeah,
Box?
So we're increasing it back to original 35,000, correct?
Yep, for
I'd like to add
improvements.
2,000 for my discretionary fund to that.
Okay.
Thanks.
So whoever's introducing this, when we amend the agenda, let's act accordingly. Councilman Sims?
I just want to clarify, is that 2 of the 35 or you're making it go to 37?
I'm making it go to 37 if legal says that's okay.
Okay. All right, fair enough. And I have no more questions. We agree to keep.
Question.
Sure.
Are these going to include the cameras, the 35, we're going to put the cameras in there also?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
The London cameras.
All right, well, I'm gonna give you $1,000 of my discretionary to help you with those cameras.
Thank you, sir.
You
All
good
right.
with that? Okay.
All right, so everybody can, when this is introduced, be introduced accordingly. We agree to keep this item on consent?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much.
Can I say one thing?
Please.
And the reason I work out in the range is because of Lieutenant Mark Meadows, and the officers and I are going to build him a memorial out there, and I want all you to come out there when we finish it. So I appreciate it.
Oh,
Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you.
All right. Resolve the resolution 2025 R23 accepts the bid from Coca-Cola Bottling Company United for exclusive non-alcoholic beverage rights and authorizes Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. or his designee to execute any documents necessary to effectuate this bid acceptance. Mr. Blankenship, would you like to enlighten us? I understand there were a few bids. Coca-Cola is the only one that responded.
Yes,
Okay. Got anything you want to say about this?
we were very fortunate to have a bid out there and offer different vendors opportunity. Coca-Cola met with us last week as a bid closed, and a lot of really good rebates that they're providing to us financially, which is included in the package, and they also will provide some standstill coolers and different things for special events as well. We have some special events they'll provide products to us, and the rebates is really the big thing. And the most exciting feature that I was hoping we could get, which they're able to deliver, is a marquee sign, up to $18,000 on the sign that they're going to put in. Of course, we get to put our input on there, our logo and things of that nature. So that's really exciting, the revenue that they're going to provide to our city and for our park out there.
Nice. Councilman London?
Yeah, are they gonna put the scoreboards also?
Scoreboards are out there. We're going to maintain the ones we have at this time.
You gonna maintain those we have? You had a part in here, mutually agreed, non-alcoholic beverages, Ruffin Park Complex facility and other city facilities. So you're not saying the rest of the city hall have to use Coca-Cola, just Ruffner Park?
Ruffner Park, yes.
Okay, all right, because that's in here. It said Ruffner Park Complex facility and other city facilities. Do we need to take that out?
They will submit the legal agreement over the next week to
Okay.
us, and then that would just be where we need to double check right there that there's no binding clause for any
Okay.
other facility.
Yeah, I don't want the police and fire be drinking Pepsis over there, yeah. Okay, all right, that's all I have. Thank you, sir.
Councilwoman Quayle?
Yeah, mine is just a point of clarification. That's it. The invitation to bid talks about a period of 3 years. And when I look at page 4, which is what they filled out and submitted, we have year 4 and year 5. Is this a 3-year contract or is it do we go 5 years?
Coca-Cola can only max a 3-year contract.
3-year.
So on the bid agreement there, year 4 and 5 is contingent upon after the third year. Year to
After the
year,
third year,
yes.
that would
Yeah,
apply.
you cannot
Okay.
enter anything over 3 years.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
No other questions.
Councilman Box?
No, I'm good. That answered all the questions I had.
Councilman Sims?
No, it's a great proposal and ready to have my first Coke at the ballpark.
Thank you.
I love it. Thank you very much for the work you're doing. I don't have any questions. We agree to keep this on consent?
Yes.
Yes.
Item number 14, resolve the resolution 2025 R24 authorizes Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. or his designee to execute an agreement addendum with Next Bill Pay LLC for swiper services at the Irondale Senior Activity Center for a one-time fee of $125. Merchant services, this would be, I think, what, the third terminal? We already have two out there, so this should be adding a third. Anything else that either one of y'all needs to speak on this one? No. Pretty clear cut. Councilman London, any questions? No question. Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions.
Councilman Box?
I'm good with it.
Councilman Sims?
No question. I just, I guess, maybe it was city clerk told me, I can't remember now, but that currently they don't have a way to swipe cards at the senior center when they have their different things that requires money. So they can take a check, they've got to run the check all over here and it's got to get processed and then go back, and this will solve that and make things a lot easier for everybody. So 100% support.
Perfect. I'm all about it. Do we agree to keep this on consent?
Yes.
All right. Item number 15, that resolve the resolution 2025 R25 authorizes the city of Irondale to enter into an agreement with the Mulch LLC in an amount not to exceed $25,834.08 for mulching, tree removal, and debris removal. I understand this has to do with the new station. Chief McDaniel, is there anything you care to say about this?
Yeah, it's just we've been going through the permitting process and going through the Army Corps of Engineers and ADEM and getting all that stuff in order, getting ready to hopefully go to bid. But when we got approval, we were told due to a bat population, we have to have all the trees for the site down and cut down before March the 31st, or we're not going to be touching those trees until October. So that's why this is kind of ahead of that, because we need to go ahead and get that remediated, or we're going to be waiting till the end of the year before we can bring the trees down.
Okay. Councilman Lennon, any questions?
No question.
All right.
Yeah, and they did have, I think it was 3 people that bid on this, and this was the most responsive bidder.
Thank you for that clarification. Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions. Thank you for explaining why it had to be done before March.
Absolutely.
Councilman Box?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
All right. Councilman Sims?
No questions. Thank you.
And I have no questions. Thank you very much. Do we agree to keep this on consent?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Now we're going to transition into our regular agenda. Item number 16, resolved that resolution 2025 R26 declares an emergency and authorizes the expenditure of funds for emergency work to be completed by RAS Construction, Inc. on the city's water line under I-20 at exit 133. Is Mr. Morris with us?
He's here, but he's going to speak, Council President, after I kind of lay
Okay,
out
please.
the urgency for it. Well, the reason we were asking to declare this to be an emergency and expenditure of funds is to be able to complete some work up under, you all probably remember us talking about Golden Rule. Well, there's a leak that is up there at Golden Rule. The leak has got worse, and because the system up there does not have any redundancy in it, we want to make sure that we go ahead and deal with the emergency as quickly as possible. There was also, I want to say in your packet, you probably received 3 bids. Jared has done all of the lead work and all of that, so I'll let him come out to be able to talk about it. But we wanted to, like I said, declare it an emergency to make sure that we can go ahead, get this repaired so it doesn't cut off water to the other side of the city. Jared, is anything you want to add to that?
Pretty much all of Scenic View, Holiday Gardens, all the way up to Kendall Electric, and that leak now is broke. And so, what is happening? You know, everybody thinks that the wintertime is kind of the slow time of the year for the water, but yeah, I think everybody's water's dripping, so it is killing us. Well is running wide open, and system struggling, and we're having to do some improvements to a booster station to be able to backfeed some water, as well as do an emergency connection with Birmingham. Our intent is to not purchase any water from Birmingham, but we have to be able to be ready if anything happens. The leak is right in front of Gold Rule. If you get off the exit, look to your right. It's about a 900-foot pool that's got to come out It is a significant work. It was put in about 1985. We have no idea how it's going to come out. That's kind of the reason that we had to break this project up, because we don't really know what to put together to get pricing on. We don't know if it's going to come out good. Used to, back in the day, they would push the pipe in, they blew sand in it. So we don't know how it's going to come out. RAS Construction, they've been doing this a long time. Feel very good about them getting the opportunity to do the work. I got them to send over a list of material and equipment that they will be bringing, so it kind of will give you an idea of what that $14,000 a day will look like. It includes a superintendent, a foreman, an operator, 3 laborers, a drill operator, a drill locator. They'll have 2 track goes out there, 2 trench boxes, several water pumps, Vactron, directional drill operator, and the equipment, and a superintendent pickup and a foreman pickup. So there is a significant amount of people that they are bringing to get this handled, so we can know how to rectify the problem. We met with AllDOT. AllDOT's stance is fix it. We'll permit it after the fact. So there's been a lot of good people that's helped us on this. Shout out to the water department guys. We've been up at Duckett all day doing the improvements up there. We'll be up there tomorrow. I feel like everybody up there's froze. It is very cold. So thanks to them. Thanks for Mayor Stewart's leadership on this. It's been very hard to navigate logistically to make sure that we keep everybody water in the most efficient way possible.
And I want to thank Jared for the job that he's done too. Not only does he understand the management of it, but he, as you can see, he's been down in the hole too. He'll get down there and get dirty with them and make sure that everything is done well. So I want to thank him too, because he does an excellent job.
Fantastic. Councilman London, questions, comments?
Yeah, appreciate that. I know they say they won't get started to the 27th. Have to approve it. They can get started earlier. That's the
So their goal is to start mobilizing equipment this week. They will start excavation on Monday.
On Monday.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
That's
put
correct.
everything out there. What do Stone Ridge, Holiday Gardens, and what do we need to do? Or there is anything we need to do between now or any announcement that may come out of this meeting?
No, I mean, I feel like the plan that we have in place, it's not a long-term plan that I would want to run for, a month or anything like that, but it will sustain water for the time being to be able to get this done. So we should be in good shape to be able to serve the citizens while this is being repaired. It's not the most efficient way or effective way, but it's a way.
Right.
I think
you
we're
cut some
okay.
water off between while you're getting it fixed, and then what's the estimated time of maybe finishing it?
The water should not. We'll have to turn off the water obviously on the interstate, but it shouldn't affect anybody. As far as the time frame for them to be able to know how long they're going to pull it to get it out, I mean, it could take 3 days. It could take 2 weeks. I mean, it's just there's a lot of uncertainty there to being the age of that pipe and how it will come out and where it's broke. It may be broke 30 feet in there. It may be broke 700 feet in there. We don't know where that is. So it's just a lot of unknowns.
Okay. So a lot of patience.
Very lot. Yeah, it's a lot of hurry up and wait.
All right. Thank you.
Councilwoman Quayle?
I have no questions. You provided the information I needed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Box?
Yeah, my only question was how long do you think it would take, but we're unsure at this point, so I'm good.
Councilman Sims?
Thanks for all your hard work. Please let all your guys know. Thank you, and try to stay warm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, hopefully we'll just keep praying that it's a lot easier. It ends up a lot easier than maybe it could be. So hopefully it'll be on the 3 days
that's the
in
goal.
versus
That's the
anything
goal.
else. Thank you.
Only ask, comment, and this isn't saying that you don't do this, but between you and the city administration, when it comes to communication, I would just say if you could just get it blasted out there on Facebook. So if we need to do a boil water, to kind of piggyback on Councilman London's, that you'll just communicate that with us, and any other as it moves through your stages and stuff like
the
that.
quality of water will not hamper anything. So the quality of water is fine.
Okay.
So you don't have to worry about that. It's just a matter we're just having to reroute water. It's just
Okay.
taking the very long way around town to
Got
get
it.
back to you. So it's just not efficient, but it's
Okay.
it's a way. So the quality of water's fine.
Okay.
There'll be no issue with that.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that reassurance.
I just had a question for legal. It's unbudgeted, so we just need to go through the ordinance process. Is that correct?
Well, I was actually getting ready to
No, we
piggyback
don't
on
know
that.
what it
This-
is.
this
We don't
is a-
know the cost.
Well, we have which fund did you specify?
It's going to come out of what we call is the operations and management account.
You know.
There's about 1.3 million. Last time we checked, we have enough funding to be able to do it out of that fund.
So we now would you feel comfortable, and council, would you feel comfortable adding this to consent agenda based on the stated funding source, legal? Okay. Do we agree to
Sounds
move
good.
this from regular to consent?
Yes on me.
You
Yes
agree?
on me.
Okay. All right. So item number 16, move to consent agenda. Thank you very
Thank y'all.
much.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see here. All right. So item number 17. So this is we've had our public hearing on this as far as the council is concerned. We've had an initial reading on this. This would be a second reading. This would be ordained that ordinance 2024-19 rezones the properties located at 2201 Fifth Terrace South and 2205 Fifth Terrace South, Irondale, Alabama 35210 from an R2 residential district to O office district. I know I've got Mr. Cochran's name set beside this, but I understand in our front row we've got some presenters. I understand there's been some very new information that has come out about this. So if you would please come up and share us with what you have done.
So I'm a architect representing our client. We've been in, I guess, deliberation and discussion about the property located at 2201 Fifth Terrace and 2205 Fifth Terrace for maybe 2 months, 4 hearings.
Thank you.
We went through the Board of Zoning. We got approval from them and a recommendation on that approval to the City Council. At the request of some of the community and neighbors, we had a community meeting. Felt like that went very well, was very productive. We took 100% of the feedback from the community and integrated that into the design, which actually relocates the parking lot, which was the stated, I guess, area of concern for some of the adjacent neighbors. We relocated that parking lot per their request. We also did some adjustments to the zoning from a C2 zoning to an O zoning, or office zoning, which was also a request of the community and the council. And in good faith, we basically moved at every phase to accommodate the request of the community. And by and large, we felt like everybody else thought that the project was acceptable, both from an aesthetic, functional, and community standpoint. So we stand here today hoping and praying that we can get approval for the request.
All right. Councilman London, any questions or comments for the gentleman?
Just one.
Or is the buffer, the landscape, that's still in play, right?
Yes, sir.
All that around the parking lot.
Yes, sir. But it would be essentially a linear park donated to the residents in the community. So,
Thank you. That's all.
All right. Councilwoman Cuero?
Several residents have called. I've actually met with them, and they've shown me various parts, photographs. I've taken several photographs. I just want to be clear, you're gonna still maintain the existing house, which I believe it's called the Cataldo home, but you're also gonna keep the Rock House, and you're gonna build the parking lot in between those two houses?
the corner house that's on the side of the building is going to be raised. The house that is, what is it? It's 22nd. Yeah,
The stone
on the
house.
corner will stay, and then we're going to relocate the
the parking lot away from the corner and away from the street. Per the request of the council. and
The
committee.
only thing that I'm familiar with are names of homes. So when you're talking about a home that's gonna be raised, is that the home that is right on the corner that is adjoined to those neighborhoods? Is that the one that's gonna be raised?
It is the house.
That they call the Rock House?
No, it's not the rock house. It's a brick house is on the corner where the building will go. It's 20,
Right on 20th.
right on 20th.
That one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's going to stay, but we moved the parking lot east. So now at the request of the house on the west stay, so that there will be no parking lot there. The parking lot is moved east.
Okay.
Right, so we've got a street that runs in front of the two homes. I think that's Fifth Avenue.
Runs on the north side and the 22nd runs on the west.
Okay. So we have the proposed office that is right off 20th Street, correct?
That's correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then there's a street that runs adjacent to the proposed street that then intersects. You've got an intersection that if you turn right, that is a house that's there when you turn to the right. And they call it the Rock House. And if you keep going, it dead ends, and they call that the Cataldo House. When I look at this drawing, it appears that you're keeping both houses, but now you're saying you're gonna raise one. Which one are you gonna raise?
It's the house on 20th, on the far west side of 20th, which will be where the building is located.
This structure here that you're saying is
The parking lot here.
yeah, okay.
So we moved this house will stay.
Yeah, that's the Rock House.
So this house.
Yeah, that's the Cataldo House.
Gotcha.
All right, order, guys.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not sure the name of the house on the north side.
See, that's all I'm familiar with.
That house
The names of the homes.
that house will be raised as well.
So the Rock House will be raised.
Yes.
And that is in that neighborhood that you're gonna raise. And that is what the residents are objecting to. Because and I'm looking at your old plans, okay? And I'm looking at this here that you gave us. And this is shown as green. That's where the parking lot was going to be. That was what they call the Rock House. You're saying you're going to raise.
No, the Rock House that you come out of the corner is scheduled to stay. Per your request, we moved the parking lot to the other side. There's a
Right.
structure existing where we're moving it to, and it's slightly shown on the drawing, it will have to move in order to do the parking.
Right, so the other home, which they call the Cataldo home,
I don't know.
that one's gonna be raised? That's, yeah, sure, here's what I've got. This is where the parking lot is going to be, on this corner, right here.
So right now, there were faint lines right here, which would be the house that you're addressing. It would be in this area there, and it's got to be moved for the.
All right,
raise
and
for
then
park.
this Rock
That
House
stays.
stays.
Yeah.
Okay,
This stays,
That's,
and this stays.
that stays,
And how about this?
that stays for now.
Yep.
so you're not making the parking lot in between both houses, that's where I was
We
confused.
gotta make the roof parking lot now.
Okay,
If you'd like to pass that around through the audience, maybe that'll help the explanation. That's the one that's coming down, everything else is staying.
that's all the questions I have, thank you.
Councilman Box.
I'm good now.
Okay. Councilman Sims.
I'd just like to thank all the residents who kept coming and, letting us hear your concerns. Thank the architects and Shay for moving the parking lot over. I think just to make sure we're all clear, there was a parking lot going to be here. No one liked that. There was a building that was still going to be here. Now the parking lot is where that building is, and this building where they were going to tear down is still going to be there. It's pretty simple. And you've done like we asked, and I appreciate that effort, and I'm good with it.
Okay, fair enough. I do not have any questions. I appreciate the citizens who voiced their opinions on this. And then I appreciate y'all for kind of every time we've said something, you've made an adjustment. So I look forward to the deliberation on it.
Council President Bobby, I just have one other comment to make. When I'm looking at the 15-foot tall, dense landscape buffer, are we talking about like the evergreen type of buffers that's going to go in the ground and go up 15 feet?
Yes.
Okay. The other, and legal can help with this. There is a field that is right across the street from where the now proposed parking lot is. What their residents are worried about is, will this parking lot continue to be expanded towards that field? Because that even goes further into the neighborhood. Do we?
That
And
that
if-
is not the intent of
If that is not the intent, is there something that could be put into the ordinance that would specify that there's not going to be any additional development on towards that field because that goes further into the neighborhood?
That's a totally different parcel that we are not talking about this evening.
That
They'd
would
have
have
to
to
come
be
and rezone it to whatever.
Yeah, they don't own that property either.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Sims.
And not that this matters, nor do I want to be redundant or try to overstate a case, but I do think whatever the name of that house was, that there was some value from the community in it being raised. That there was some concern about the current state of that house too. So I think from what we understand from our community meetings and from our deliberations here is that it's a win-win. It's a net gain. So we have tried at every step to accommodate.
And my only other follow-up comment would be the structures, the residential structure that's remaining, in particular the Rock House. Obviously, it's not looking fantastic.
Yes, sir.
You know, so I definitely any assurances that you could speak on to how you're going to either address any issues that are currently manifesting right now or those in the future. How are you going to take care of that Rock House, that property, and keep that corner tight?
Yeah, I just think that as my colleagues have said, the value in the entire community and development is at the forefront of the owner's mind, and they have every intention of upgrading the entire development, landscaping and otherwise. So it is a massive investment, both for Irondale and for the business. So I think it's in their interest to not only enhance it but maintain it.
And then I'm also just a point of clarity. It looks like from this parking lot, I'm not seeing any entrance from Fifth Terrace. It's
No, sir.
all through that vacated alley, right?
Yes, sir.
So you're not putting any more traffic going around 22nd onto Fifth, basically. It's
Yes,
pretty
sir.
much, if they're coming into the parking lot, they're coming down to the vacated alley.
Yes, sir.
Copy that. All right, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Well, so that's a second reading. So even though it is an ordinance, it will be introduced like a resolution, being an ordinance. So introduce it as an ordinance, but treat it like a resolution. All right, we're going to go ahead and go into item 18 and 19. All right, so we have two kind of dueling ordinances. We have item number 18, which is ordained that ordinance 2025-01 authorizes the section of Plan 2 with amendments for redistricting the city and authorizes Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. or his designee to take all necessary steps to effectuate this selection. This is Councilman Sims' iteration, once again, second reading on that. And then we have item number 19, ordained that ordinance 2025 02 authorizes the selection of Plan 2 with amendments for redistricting the city and authorizes Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. Or his designee to take all necessary steps to effectuate this selection. This is Councilwoman Cuellar's iteration. Councilwoman Cuellar's iteration would be a first reading. So I've been cleared by legal to open up a public hearing and address both. So they sound really similar the way I've read them off, but we understand we're fixing to get into the differences, and I'll have my peers talk about what they're advocating. So at this point in time, I ask for a movement into a public hearing.
Move we leave regular council meeting and go into a public hearing.
All right, motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Item number 18, Councilman Sims, this is yours if you want to reintroduce us to your item.
So this is map option 2 with 2 amendments, 2 census blocks swapping from what is up there on option 2. One is a block in Holiday Gardens moving from District 1 to District 5. Looking for with a population of 70 as of 2020. And it's the west side of Danton, the south side of Beacon, and the north side of Gomar, that census block. It's most of the square block. And the second one is the census block where the Heights and Shades Terraces with a population of 49 people moving from District 1 into District 3. And I came up with that talking, I guess, hearing from people in District 5 that thought that we were too small, and in Councilor London's thoughts as well. And that's what we have.
All right. Anything else on that before we open up to comments or questions to the council?
Oh, and I'll just say, I mean, again, a lot of people in District 3 did not like option 3 up there, which divided Carl Daly. So problem solved. This does not divide Carl Daly. All the percentages should be within what we were asked to stay within as far as the tolerances. That's it.
All right. Mayor?
Council President, I just wanted to let everybody know, if you wanted to see exactly what Councilman Sims is talking about, there are some maps on the back table back there that.
Council President Spivey, I also have maps for
Thank
the
you.
amendment that I have.
Perfect, thank you. Anything else?
There are both of them back there.
Okay,
18 and 19 are both on the table if you all
Okay.
want to get a copy of them.
fantastic. Councilman London, any questions or comments about Councilman Sims's proposal?
You know, first of all, 2 years ago, we should have been done, but we are where we are now. First map failed, so we're back here at this. Councilman Sim has talked about this redistricting map with some heartburn, and I think that as council, each district need to have some heartburn. First time it went around, I think I was the only one that had heartburn in District 1, because it kept me up for about 4 days. I couldn't sleep thinking about it. But after much discussion with Councilman Sim, we both agreed that the amendment that he has can be accepted. I don't want to break up Holiday Gardens anymore when what it already has been. But in order to make this happen, we both agreed that this is the best way to go.
Okay. Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes, Councilor London, at our meeting that was held on January 7th, I was looking at the existing condition online map when we received this amendment from Councilor London. And there were 2 things that were very troubling for me. The first one was you divided a neighborhood, in this case, the Grants Mill Valley neighborhood, and I did receive comments from them. They do not want to be divided. They don't have to be divided. In the case of Holiday Gardens, they do have to be divided because there are too many people that live in the Holiday Gardens neighborhood. So you have to have 2 districts. You don't have to have 2 districts in any of the other areas. Oh, so that was point number 1. We're not following the guidelines that we agreed that our legal counsel provided for us. The second concern was with looking at the existing condition map and drawing it. It appears that this was not taken into account, because when you put the census block of 49 into District 3, District 1 no longer connects with the Rock Ridge area. That's what they call contiguous. It is no longer contiguous. It does not connect. I had concerns about that, so I called Brett Isom with the Regional Planning Commission for Greater Birmingham. And he was surprised that this was being considered, because he stated that he had spoken with Councilor London about doing this, and he stated, well, you can't do it, but what you can do is you can just only put the Heights in District 3, because you're going by the census data. And there's no population in that census data. But this other block, 49, it is contiguous with this shaded area, pink area here, that is District 1. If you put that into District 3, District 1 is no longer contiguous with the Rock Ridge neighborhood. So that means that all of District 4, this area that is currently pink becomes purple. And so that's over 300 people that now become purple because it's contiguous with purple. And then you have to subtract this over 300 people from the Rock Ridge neighborhood from the District 1 population. And what we're trying to do is come as close as we can to the 2699. So if the population in District 1 is 2676, you're going to need to subtract more people, over 300 people. That puts them at below 2400 or so. Our goal is to come as close to the 2699. That's way over the 5% variance. And so this is why he was saying, leave block cell 49 in District 1. It doesn't disrupt it. But if you move it into District 3, it disrupts District 1, it disrupts District 3, and it disrupts District 4. Because 4 now has a big gain in population, and 1 has a significant drop in population. Whereas District 3, and I agreed, I'm happy to take the Heights. It's no problem with me doing that. And so what I asked Mr. Isom, because he asked me, have you talked with your legal counsel about it? I said, I have. And he said, I sent Councilor London a map, which I'm going to give you, to help you to understand why you can't put the entire cell. I believe I gave you one, Councilor Box, I'm not sure, but I'll give one to our city attorney as well. Do you have one? Do you have this?
I've seen it.
Okay, so you can see that gray area, that is block 49, okay? And if you make that gold, District 1 is no longer contiguous there where it says Highway 78. Okay?
It doesn't reach 78. It goes to the interstate.
That is Interstate 20, there's no population, none at all. That is a interstate highway. Okay?
And there's a census block that connects the east side to the west side.
Just a minute. It is no longer contiguous with Highway 78.
Hang on, Councilman.
I am speaking now, okay? And this is what Mr. Isom was trying to explain. And he said, Cindy, all you need to do is take that little area that I have marked in bold, put that in District 3. And this way you don't disrupt the other districts. I'm good with that. I have no problem with doing that. This is why I have this amended map, which shows everything that we're doing. You have this little area that moves this 70 population into District 5 from District 1. You have the Heights, that little area there that moves into District 3. Then you have this shaded area way down here that's purple that adds 14 population to District 4. Does not disrupt any of the districts. This
I'm
proposal
going to go ahead
by
and
Councilman
I'm
Sims
going to go ahead and
does.
move on. Councilman, legal. You were motioning to make a comment.
There would still be contiguous, ness here, as evidenced by the thin line. And so that is still there. It would not change this area out into District 4. It would still stay in District 1.
But it
So-
would divide a neighborhood.
This is legal's opportunity to
I'm-
make a
I'm asking
clarifying
a
statement.
question.
Your turn is up for now, okay? Legal, please continue.
And so it would be this entire census tract coming out. I also talked to RPC as well. And I have a map, which, is a full-blown map of that as well, for the first ordinance. And so this does accurately show that on an enlarged version, but there is a connection point. That was the only point I wanted to make.
Okay, thank you. We're going to go ahead and keep it moving. Councilman Box?
So we will have a second round of meeting.
Yes, absolutely.
So I guess I'll state the old song of, you'll never hear me repeating gossip, so you better be sure and listen close the first time. Guys, I'm going to think it's very disheartening if we're doing all this work just so somebody can run for city council against who they want to run against, or just so somebody can not have somebody run against them because they don't want them to do it. This is not supposed to be any of that. Contiguous lines, I've had experience on annexing and things like that, and fights and arguments, even through legal things when coming into the city of Irondale and also at the city of Trussville. It is contiguous because it's represented as contiguous. The state or federal highway does not block contiguality, if you want to call it that. So the only question I have on your proposal, Councilman Sims, this block called Block 49 would then divide part of the Grants Mill Valley neighborhood. Is that an accurate statement?
Yes.
All right, and then Councilwoman Queller, we'll get to your presentation. I'll have my questions for that in a moment. That's all my questions, sir.
Okay. I'm eager to hear this doesn't affect District 2, but obviously I want to see this done right. So I'm going to yield my time and bring it back around to Councilman London on this. So you got 2 minutes, Councilman London, on this. I'm sorry?
It's his part. This is maybe want to start first, Sam, or go last.
I'll go last, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, first thing, first of all, these recommendations or recommendations are not law, so you don't have to be exact number. It's just recommendations, and that's what we go by. It's just recommendation. It doesn't disconnect me. This move doesn't disconnect me from Rock Ridge. That's untrue. It doesn't go Rock Ridge. It doesn't go into District 4. That's not true. Rock Ridge still stays in District 1. I also talked to Rick Eisen, and I don't know what you talked to him, but my first conversation was to him is that this was feasible to make this move, the whole move, not just what she wants. It was feasible. That's the conversation he and I had. Disruption, you talk about splitting neighborhoods again. I don't have any heartbreak about neighborhoods being disrupted. Drive through Holiday Gardens. It's been disrupted for 30 years. It's been split in half. So I don't have any heart for neighborhoods being split. All right? But I did hear that the District 3 folks said we don't want Carl Daly Road split. Well, it's not split. You're gaining some people, but you got what you want. You asked for it not be split, so you have it. It's not split. So we all got to have some heartburn, and that's all we're trying to do is make sure that everybody on this council have heartburn. And if her proposal pass, then again, I'll be the only one with heartburn. It's District 1, whoever lives in, or whoever the next council person is, I don't really know who cares. I really don't care next council person is, but 10 years from now, they can make another decision to change the way they want to change it. But untruths,
Thank
what
you,
she
sir.
has, disruption, Holiday Gardens already been disrupted.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Quayle.
Council President Spivey, I did speak with Mr. Isom last Monday. He provided me with this map, and he was surprised that Councilor London did not provide us with this information. He did tell me that there would be no connection with the Rock Ridge area. He did state that. He said, that's why he asked, have you spoken with legal counsel about it? Which I stated, I have move forward with an amendment based on what I'm looking at on the existing condition map. You just confirmed what my concerns were. That was one concern. The other concern was dividing a neighborhood. It is not necessary to divide a neighborhood. It is necessary to divide the Holiday Gardens neighborhood. They have too many people. You cannot put them in one district. Mr. Isom stressed that on July the 5th, 2022. He said if I could keep them in one district, I would do it. But I can't because there's too many people that live there. That is not the case with Grants Mill Valley. That is not the case with the Carl Daly community. This is a unique situation with Holiday Gardens. That is not the case with any other neighborhood. We have our guidelines that were provided by our legal counsel, and that guideline was you are to avoid dividing neighborhoods. This divides a neighborhood. They don't want to be divided. I have no problem with taking the Heights. That is getting heartburn. Yeah, it is. I have no problem doing that. I'm happy to do it. But I do have a problem with dividing a neighborhood, and I would like Mr. Eisen to clarify if it in fact does break this up and they're not contiguous, we should hear from him. Our legal counsel, she's saying it doesn't. I just want that assurance.
Thank you, ma'am.
And don't want to divide a neighborhood.
Thank you. Councilman Box, 2 minutes.
Thank you, sir. Well, I don't know whether to take 2 minutes to silently pray or whether to come, yeah, pray out loud maybe. But look, guys, it's a redistricting. None of us sitting on this council know if we're going to run again or not. If it is dividing a neighborhood, then that's a tough situation. My neighborhood got brought into Irondale. None of us want to go to Irondale. We want to go to Trussville, but we've made the best of it. That was back in 2006. So whatever happens tonight, we need to make the best of, move forward peacefully, and see how we can engage to be a help, not try to set up different politically motivated schemes, which, once again, I said I wouldn't repeat the gossip, but I just did, so forgiveness on that. I think Sims has done a lot of hard work. I think Councilman Quaylar's done a lot of hard work, and I'll come in with that later when we address some other issues. But for now, for God's sake, let's just vote on something tonight and get this done. Thank you.
Councilman Sims, take us home.
Where do we get? So there is a census block. It's its own census block. It is north of this census block that connects one all the way across. It is contiguous. Second thing, I brought up several times the fact that the Heights had been built after the census, and every time I did, this is back in 2022, and every time since October, Councilor Cuellar told me that we are not to consider any of that we are only to consider the numbers from the census. Yet here she is now, after we've got this ready to go, wanting to now carve out create a brand new census block from the 2020 census, create a brand new one, even though everything she said before then was we're only talking about the 2020 census. She's creating a new census block and trying to now move just a zero population area. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say. It connects. This one's ready to go, and we can vote on it later.
Fair enough. And then just restating my thoughts, the lines that y'all are moving around do not affect D2 at all. Obviously, I'd love to see the body come to an accord. That's obviously not going to happen. So we're just going to have to see where this goes. At this point, I would love to hear from our residents on this. Once again, since this is a public hearing, we're accepting comments on these items in this moment. When we close this public hearing and we open it, once we eventually get to passing our agenda and we have a passage agenda, we're not going to be speaking on these items again during that moment. So you want to talk about redistricting, this is your moment.
Council President, may I have a point of order now?
Please.
Is Councilwoman McQuaylar going to present her option and then have the public hearing on both at the same time?
I thought she did. Was I mistaken?
Well, I think factuality and in reality, we were just talking about Councilman Sims. I think
Right.
she has presented her argument, but I do think that
Well,
because of
Councilman
order, we
Sims
need.
Let the gentleman, he's advocating for you, Councilwoman Quayle.
I'm
Let the man
saying that
finish.
we do need to let Councilwoman Quaylar introduce her option. Thank you, Council President.
Fair enough.
And then have the
In
vote.
the
That-
spirit of
that
making
was the
sure
point of order.
in the spirit of making sure that we do this correctly, then let's go. You got 4 minutes,
That
Councilwoman
was
Quayle.
the point of order that I was asking for. Thank you, Councilman Box. Again, misleading people by stating that I was stating clearly, we're not to look at the what's after the 2020 census. Now she's going to this. That is what we were told. You are not to look at anything that happened after the 2020 census, but yet he's doing it. He's doing this because the option 2 map that we have did in fact do that. It did not take anything past the 2020 census, and yet he amended it. And it divides a neighborhood. And you must not divide neighborhoods when it is not necessary to do it. They do not want to be divided. They are an HOA. And to have 2 different council members for a neighborhood that's Grants Mill Valley when it needs to remain intact is unacceptable. It's not right. And they have said they don't want that. This has nothing to do with any political ambition on my part. It has to do with doing what is right, following the guidelines that we were given. And I strove to do that. And then all of a sudden, I learned about a conversation that took place that wasn't presented to us. And I'm just like, had we been given that opportunity, we could have worked this. And it's why I came up with this amended map. Because it does work. It does take this area. District 3 doesn't have to do it. I can simply say, we need to stay with the option 2 map. Why are we going down this rabbit trail when it's going to divide a neighborhood? Why are we doing that? We don't need to do that. But in the spirit of peace and issuing an olive branch, I am saying, okay, bring the Heights into District 3. That should suffice. That ought to suffice. It doesn't disrupt anything. It doesn't divide a neighborhood, and it follows the guidelines that we were given. This is why I presented this amended ordinance. That is the sole reason. It has nothing to do with gossip and political advantage. No, if anything, it is a design plan that Councilor London said we should avoid doing. I don't want us to have a design plan. I'm happy to provide that audio where he stressed we shouldn't be doing a design plan to help a councilman. Well, gee whiz, that's what this is doing. And I'm trying to help us to avoid doing just that. That's my comments.
Comments, Russ? Councilman London.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. I'm not in the mood. I don't argue anyway. I just state my case and move on. But I think we have, I don't have my maps with me, but I think we had a map up there that had this same block in District 4, and then went all the way down to Shade Rest Terrace. I'm almost positive, I'm just stating that. I'm almost positive on one of the maps that we had that we didn't approve had this, what we're talking about in District 4, all the way down to Chase Terrace, and there was no problem. But when I was discussing map 2, and I was talking about District 3 taking the heights, I had no's across the board. And from District 3 representative was no, I don't want it, I don't want to have it, and we're just talking about the heights. I don't want to have, all of a sudden now, she wants the heights. She wants to take her hand and just say, hey, I just want the heights, but not the whole block. Who does that? Either you take the whole block, none at all. You gotta take the whole block, or you have to take nothing at all. She just can't pick out what she wants and leave the rest to somebody else. So she'd have to take the whole block, and I agree with Councilman Sims. She made a brand new block by just having the heights. That's a whole block. That whole piece we're talking about, it's a whole block. It's on her map, and it's on my map, and it's on the map that you have. It's a whole block. Not just the piece that she wants the heights. That's not it. But it's the whole thing. Either you take the whole thing or you don't. It's very simple. Very simple. And so she had a chance to keep map 2, but last council meeting, 2 council meeting ago, she voted to take it through the process, and it got voted down. So this is why we are where we are right now, with a whole new deal. That's why we are where we are now, because Councilman Quaylar didn't want to postpone it until I get back to council so we can have a further discussion. That's where we are right now. Thank you, Council President.
Got it. Councilman Box?
Well, once again, Council President, I just think that the city deserves to get something passed tonight. I appreciate all the research and hard work Councilman Quaylar's done, everything Councilman Sims has done, talking to Brett Isom, Councilman London, Councilman Quaylar, and Councilman Sims, talking to our legal attorney. Then it comes to a difference of opinion of what Brett Isom says. So I have to go with what our legal attorney that works here for us said. I don't disrespect Mr. Isom at all, but if our legal counsel tells us one thing, that's what we need to go with. That's what we pay our legal counsel to do. It's unfortunate that we can't exist by how beautiful it is when brothers and sisters dwell together in unity, because there the blessing exists. But when we get into all this strife, guess what, folks? You're setting yourself up for getting out of blessing. That's all I've got to say, Council President.
Councilman Sims?
I'm just gonna, I guess, just address one thing that maybe a perspective I have from where I live. Ever since I moved into Holiday Gardens, we've had 2 counselors, and I think it's awesome. We have a neighborhood meeting, we have 2 counselors show up. I don't know if you can count, but 1 more, and that's the majority. So that's a lot of power for a neighborhood. I think, I mean, if they've got an HOA and they get 2 counselors showing up that are representing those people, I talk to people all the time. I don't know if they're in his District 1, District 5, they're in Holiday Gardens. I want to do what I can for them. So in the event, who knows what's going to happen in the next few minutes, but if it gets divided and they've got 2 different counselors, a District 1 and a District 3 representing them, that's a lot of power to have for a neighborhood, in my opinion. And so I don't think that's negative. That's all I got.
Fair enough. I'm going to go ahead and yield. We did come around for a second 2-minute block on the first one. So if we're running these 2 items parallel, then we're going to do that as well. As much as I would love to move on and hear from our citizens, Councilman London, what say you in your final discussion here?
No, this Councilman Quaylar's baby, so she went first. I let her go.
Okay. Do you yield the rest of your time on this, sir?
You can have it.
All right, Councilwoman Cuellar.
For the sake of everyone to have clarity here,
Unless she tells a lie.
we had
London.
discussions, we had a work session on October the 22nd where we discussed the maps. There was a map that had District 4 in the Heights area as well as the Shades Terrace. The council rejected that map. Just so that we're clear, we rejected that map for the reasons I've just stated. You're dividing a neighborhood, ought not be doing that. That map was rejected. The council was pretty much on a consensus that the option 2 map was the best map for the city of Irondale. We were at that level. On December the 7th, we had the vote. Okay? And the vote was 4-1. 4 council members voted, let's move forward with this. Councilor London voted no. I asked our council president if we needed to have a special council meeting so that we could include him in the discussions. He told us, no, y'all go ahead and y'all move on with this. The next thing we're hearing is that Councilor London has grief over this. A lot of grief and you know, I don't like what's going on. And then on the 17th, everything changed because Councilor London had grief. Those are the facts. Go back and look at the meetings that were held. This here is a peace offering. I didn't have to then come back and say, well, I'll take the Heights. I was saying, leave it the way it is. We don't need to change it. We were at a consensus. Why not leave it the way it is? But when he was adamant, no, this isn't right, I'm having grief over it, I said, okay, let's take the Heights into District 3. But you can't disrupt a neighborhood. You can't divide it.
Thank you.
That's the issue.
Thank you. Councilman Box, last 2.
I've said everything that I feel needs to be said. Let's just move forward and get something done.
Thank you. Councilman Sims, last 2.
I just want to clarify that we did not, the 4-1 vote was to suspend the rules. We never got to a vote on a map option. Just make sure that that's clear. And that's all.
Fair enough. I agree with Councilman Sims as far as my comment goes. But I'm ready to move forward. Let's get it done. Let's stop talking about this. And we have a fantastic city to work with. We have a fantastic mayor to work with. Let's move on to bigger and better things. So that being said, at this time, if you have a comment specific about this about this redistricting, now is your time. 2 minutes to speak. Come on up. Let's go.
Council President, they can speak on either 18 or 19.
That is accurate. So 18, 19, what's it going to be?
Caroline Cesara, 3601 Haven Hill Place. And I agreed with Councilwoman Quaylar in keeping the map that she's requesting. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Yes, sir. Come on up.
Chubba Bedlake, 5725 Belmont Drive. I have 2 minutes, Mr. Spivey.
You're on.
I think moving the entire census block of 49 people from District 1 to District 3 is unnecessary. This action would split the Grants Mill Valley neighborhood, which goes against the guidelines that prioritize avoiding the division of neighborhoods. Now, either guidelines mean something, we avoid division of neighborhoods, or they don't. We have guidelines. Now, Councilwoman Quaylar's proposed amendment moves the one census block of 70 people from District 1 to District 5. Also, her amendment transfers only the Heights into District 3 and retains the census block of 49 in District 1. It also shifts low-density census blocks totaling 14 people from District 3 to District 4. None of these changes disrupts the districts or the neighborhoods. None of them. So this would be the least disruptive amendment, Councilwoman Cuellar's amendment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments about item number 18 or 19?
Andy Jordan, 3610 Haven Hill Drive. And he explained it so well. And I agree with him. For Councilwoman White.
Anybody else about item number 18 or 19?
Win Moore, 5355 Heritage Lane. I've got this. I do want to come up later, though. I too think that I know you all have worked hard, and I know you're tired. But what Chuba said and some other people have explained, it just keep it simple, people. The least disruptive is, why make it? Why break up neighborhoods if you don't have to? And I do hear that what Councilor Cuellar was saying, she was going with the option 2, but then she said the Heights as an olive branch. It's like an offer of peace, and for some reason, I don't know what's going on up here, but y'all can't see that. So I'm just saying I would go with what she has proposed, and I hope you all will vote along with it.
Anyone else on 18 or 19? Once we close this public hearing, we'll not accept any more comments on this item. Going once, going twice. I ask for a motion to close public
Make a
hearing.
motion, to close public hearing.
Second.
All right, motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Let me get back to where we were on this bad boy. 18 and 19. All right. Item number 20. This will be a 2 out of 3 public hearings. That would be ordained that ordinance 2025-03 rezones the property located at 857 Gadsden Highway, Birmingham, Alabama 35235 from a C2 commercial district to institutional I2 institutional district. That being said, I ask that we enter into a public hearing.
Motion in a public hearing.
Motion to enter a public hearing.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Sims. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. So I do know a little bit about this, and I see that we've got some people in our audience. And so I would ask if you would please come on up since y'all are introducing this. I remember this from the Planning and Zoning Committee when this was originally presented about a month ago, and I do believe it passed unanimously, if memory serves. So please give us the council and the audience an idea about what you're trying to achieve.
So what we're trying to do is, this was one piece of property that had 2 buildings on it, 857 Gadsden Highway, 861 Gadsden Highway, both C2, Zone C2 right now. 857 used to be a termite business that was bought out. Not the business was bought out, but the building was not. 861 is currently an ambulance office that's serving the city of Irondale. Okay. So what we're wanting to do is move 857 into I2 so that these kind of folks can turn it into a child care, and they can explain to you how that child care is going to work and what ages and so forth. But that's basically what we're trying to do, is move it into I2 so that they can put business there and be a rental tenant.
Before you depart, you're kind of talking about multiple things kind of happening
Yep.
all at once. I want to make sure before you depart the podium, Councilman London, do you have any questions for the gentleman specifically around? One second, legal.
So you're saying you're trying to, so are we
is-
talking about one property or 2 properties?
Well, we just had it subdivided for this purpose, okay?
So we're dealing with 857 tonight.
Right, 857 is what's gonna go into I2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's currently
Council
C2.
President Spivey.
Yeah, point of order, council, legal.
This would be institutional two, not I2.
I apologize. Thank you for catching, that, because I think I even mispronounced it as well.
Yeah.
All right, Councilman, please
Okay,
proceed.
so we're just talking about 857, change from C2 to, and 857 is the property that you gonna have. Okay, all right, okay, we're good. You threw me off when you say 861, so I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
We're talking about 857.
Just 857.
All right, let's go.
Originally, it was one piece of property with two buildings on it.
I got you. Okay.
Councilwoman Cuellar, any questions for the gentleman specifically
Yes,
about?
just some clarification. You noted that there were two buildings that were there, correct?
Mhm.
And so will these two buildings be converted so that they can be a childcare
Okay,
center?
only one of the buildings.
Only one.
Only one of
The termite building goes away.
No, the termite building is going into institutional
Okay.
two. 861 will stay C2. It is a current business with a tenant in it. Ambulance business is there.
Okay,
Yeah. And so 857 will become a child care with these people running it and that business.
okay. Are the properties that are near this property, are these commercial properties? Or are they residential properties? What do we have? And the reason I'm asking is, was there anyone at the planning and zoning meeting that spoke against or in favor of?
To the best of my recall, there was no one that spoke against this.
yeah.
It was pretty much just the presenters, if
Okay.
I remember correctly,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
spoke on this item.
There was no one else here.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
very
then
good.
to your further point, without having a map in front of me per se, I do remember there's a mixture of commercial and some residential out there. How it's exactly comprised, I can't recall.
I
at
know
this
there's some
moment.
C1 out there too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, C1, C2, I know for a fact there is out there because the adjacent land to 857
Yes, sir.
is vacant land. It's C1.
Thank you.
Okay,
Okay.
Excuse me.
that helps. Thank you so much.
Councilman Box, any questions?
No, I'm pretty clear on this one.
All right. Councilman Sims?
First of all, thank you for hanging out so long with us this evening. You the property manager, building owner?
I'm
or-
the property manager for the owner who lives out of town. Matter of fact, he's probably under about 4 inches of snow right now. But anyway, so I'm here to represent him, and that's
What was your name again, sir?
Brian Allred.
Okay. No more questions for you. We'll wait and hear
Okay.
about the business itself.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Ladies, if you could let us know what you're wanting to accomplish.
Good evening. My name is LaShondra
evening.
Carr, Demarius Bowens. I'm going to give you a brief synopsis. Our goal is to establish and operate a private Christian learning academy within the city limits of Irondale, nurturing children ages 6 weeks to 5 years of age. We will open at approximately 5 a.m. and close at 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, and we will be closed on the weekend. We will provide high-quality childcare for the residents in Irondale. We will offer after-school tutoring for school-aged children, and we're looking to nurture less than 50 children. We will provide full and part-time care. We will be regulated by the Alabama Department of Human Resources. We will be sure to always abide by the local, state, and federal guidelines. Providing the children with a safe environment while promoting academic excellence are our greatest priorities.
Anything for you, ma'am? Okay. Councilman Lennon, any questions or comments?
First of all, thank you. Thank you for being in Irondale. Thank you for thinking about Irondale for this daycare. A couple of questions. Do you currently own daycare?
No,
Or this is your first one? This is the first?
it's not my first one, but I don't currently own a daycare.
Okay, so you two will be the owners? Okay.
Yes, me.
You'll be the owner of this daycare, and you'll be gonna be the teacher?
Administrative.
Partially, okay.
Mhm.
What curriculum will you be using?
I'm still undecided right now. Probably be basically using a curriculum out of Finland. I'll probably mimic their curriculum.
The curriculum,
Mhm.
okay. So you're gonna teach a little Spanish and everything?
Right.
Okay, all right, that's all I have, but thank you for coming.
Thank
Thinking
you.
about it.
Thanks for having me. Very well, thank you for having us.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Thank you so much for looking at Irondale. I like your business plan, and I have no questions. You've answered everything. You've provided the information that I needed. Thank you.
Councilman Bach?
The only question I have, private Christian Academy, that's great. Will you be sponsored or working under the auspices of an established church or 501c3?
No.
Thank you.
Councilman Sims?
Y'all answered everything already. Yeah, same as Council London. Thanks for thinking about Irondale, and waiting to hear if anybody else has any
Okay.
comments.
Thank you very much for your time. Please continue to hang out with us.
Thank you.
All right. At this time, since this is a public hearing on this rezoning, I would take comments for or in favor of the rezoning. Any comments in favor of the rezoning? With no additional comments for, I would go ahead and stand on up. What you got?
Has anything been spilled? Are y'all okay? Anything in the ground where the kids would be playing?
There's no storage tanks or underground storage
Thank
tanks or anything like that. The business was bought by another termite company, Wayne's bought it. They took all the inventory with them and just left the building itself. And so there's nothing there that has any chemicals in it anymore. It all went with them to their already existing office.
Thank you for that clarification. I just want to stay on up here. Any other comments for the rezoning? All right. Any other comments? Any comments against the rezoning? With no more comments for or against, I'd ask for a motion for a close of public hearing.
Motion to close public hearing.
All right. Motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all very much for hanging out with us. All right. Rezones of property. Okay, got it. All right, item number 21. This will be our third and final public hearing tonight. Ordain that ordinance 2024-04 rezones the properties located at 1845, 1847, and 1849 Crestwood Boulevard, Irondale, Alabama 35210 from C1 Commercial District to Institutional I2 District. Mayor, would you care to introduce this item?
Yes. These three properties is the old Marcus Fitzgerald building, Regions Bank, and the building behind. What we are doing is
These three properties represent where the new municipal complex is going for the city. The white building, which is the old, rooms to go, Marks Fitzgerald, Regions Bank, and the building behind that, we're basically rezoning them from commercial to institutional to be able to fit the zoning based on the building that we're going to erect on the property.
All right. That being said, Councilman London, any questions for the presenter or comments?
No question.
All right, Councilman McQuarrie?
No questions.
Councilman Box?
I can't wait till we break ground.
All right, let's go. Councilman Sims?
No questions.
And I have no questions either. While we're in this public hearing, any questions, or I guess I should say any comments for this rezoning? Any comments for this rezoning? Any comments against this rezoning? All right, one moment. And, all right, perfect. With no more comments for or against this rezoning, I ask for a motion to leave public hearing. I'm sorry, yes, ma'am?
Did we hold a public hearing on that, or did we vote to enter into it?
We did vote to enter into a public,
You did vote.
who, for the record, introduced it. You motioned it.
Yeah, and I second.
And Councilman Box
Okay,
seconded
very
it. So we did enter, and now I'm asking, since we have no more comments, to exit public hearing.
Motion to exit public hearing.
Motion second, all in favor? Aye. All right. It's getting a little past my bedtime, so I'm, thank you. I need my guardrails in place, so I appreciate all of y'all. Ordained item number 22, ordain that ordinance 2025-05 amends chapter 2, article 3, division 1 of the municipal code of the city of Irondale, Alabama. Councilman Sims, this has your name next to it. Tell us what you're trying to accomplish.
We are having an election in the fall, or late summer, and at some point in November, there will be new people up here, possibly. And this is about those people, whoever they may be. I did some research and found out that the previous mayor in 2016, if not a little earlier, that pay was set to $42,900. And I took that number and put it into some inflation calculators. And December of 2024 is the last that inflation numbers we have. So from November of 2016 until December of 2024, that amount goes up to, the equivalent amount today, accounting for inflation, would be $56,600. And so I propose that we make the position of mayor for Irondale have a pay of $50,000, which is underneath that by $6,600. When I was getting all the data about what the mayor got, it's all tied in the same ordinance. So I noticed at that point that the city council pay had not been changed in a while. And thank you to some of our the city clerk and Marcy. They did some research and found the resolution back from November. They got passed in the spring of 2012. That went into effect November 5th, 2012. That raised council pay at that time from $700 a month to the current pay. So 12 years ago. And I thought, well, let's put those numbers into the inflation calculator. And so $1,000 became, I think it was $1,380 something. And so I thought 350 is a nice round number. So I just upped everything by $350 for the pro tem, the president, and a council member. And my idea on this is basically, I feel like growing. We've got a larger budget than we did in 2012 and 2016. There's a lot more stuff going on. We have a lot more employees. City's bigger, a lot more stuff going on, a lot of time for everybody. And as a citizen before and as still a citizen, I feel like whoever is sitting up here, we want the best, the brightest. We want to, we want those with the knowledge, skills, and expertise to lead a city, to be the ones that raise their hand come, this summer when it's time to throw their hat in the ring. And I don't want a reason that someone gives for not running to be, someone that could be an amazing candidate not to run because they don't think it's worth the time and the effort they're gonna have to put into it. Honestly, I don't think anybody up here does this for the money, but I don't think we should ask someone to do this job and it be a net loss to them. Most of us have full-time jobs and we're taking time away from those jobs and their family to do this. And I just want to make sure that anyone out there who might be thinking about running, again, if they're an amazing person and maybe it's going to take time, and we should at least make some sort of effort to make it a compensation that is somewhat equivalent to what it should be today after several years for both the positions. None of this is about a specific person. This isn't an ordinance about Aaron Sims or James Stewart or John Lundert, Cindy Cuellar, Robert Box, David Spivey. This is whoever is privileged enough to get to be elected next year or into this year. No one has a crystal ball. No one knows who's running yet, but whoever that is, I hope we have the best candidates out there.
Fair enough. Councilman London?
Thank you. You said a lot. You said not much more to add to that, except for, being in this spot as long as I have, the criticism that this council takes, whether you do good or do bad, you take a lot of it. And a lot of people can't do what we do. Sit up here and accept that and do it with a smile. I can sit here and listen to be criticized and be talked about and be smiling at the same time because, I'm led by the Holy Spirit. So as long as the Holy Spirit's leading me, I'm okay. So, but a lot of people can't do that. I don't fuss and argue. I don't go back and forth. I state my point and I keep it moving. Simple as that. And and I respect everybody else's opinion also. But if I disagree with it, I say what I say and I keep it moving also. But it's never been about the money. It never has been about the money. I didn't do this job or run for city council to be criticized and mistreated on Facebook and on all those pages out there. I didn't take that job to do that. But here, here's the thing though. They crucified my Savior on the cross. They talked about him. They mistreated him. They misused him. But guess what? The Bible said on that third day morning, he got up with all power. And so I do this because of him. I'm here because of him. And if I'm here next for 4 more years, it'll be because of him. And if I'm not, guess what? He got something else for me to do. Very simple as that. And I do that without the money also. On my teaching job, I don't get paid a whole lot of money. But I'm there because God wants me to be there. And so thank you, Councilman Sims. You're going to get crucified. We're going to get crucified. Here it is. Now the council want to get money, get paid too. Here's the mayor. Let me just talk about our mayor for a second. I don't need to. He defend himself. But this is the first mayor. I've been in this city a long time, almost 40 years. This is the first mayor that I ever had that I think has a master's degree, got a doctorate degree, got a bachelor's degree, all kinds of education. They were first one. If you know of anybody else, let me know. I apologize. But this guy has done more for this city than any mayor that we've had. Any mayor. So when you go out on Facebook and you comment and say, why are we paying our mayor $50,000? You think $50,000 is worth the stuff that he goes through? The criticism? You think that's enough? Matter of fact, he was getting paid pretty good money being a city clerk, and nobody's talking about it. So he gave up because of God. It's the only way that he can do it. He's here because of God also, to give up what he gave up to lead this city. And I'm thankful for having a mayor, not only as a mayor, but having somebody that I can call my friend before mayor, before city council, and it's going to be my friend after it's all said and done. Thank you.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes, thank you so much, Council President. Like Councilor Sims, I did a lot of research on this as well. And I reached out to various municipalities because I always like to do the research to make sure that what we do is pretty much in line with what they're doing in that effort to be fair. And I did the research, and this is a front and back page for the council members to look over. And also reached the city manager in Pelham also had been doing extensive research. She actually started in August of last year, and she happily shared what she had with me as well. I did not make copies of that. What I tried to do was transfer it from this to the other, but I'm happy to make copies for the council members if they would like. Because what her research did was it also took council members and what council members are being paid in municipalities that are comparable in size to Irondale. And with this information, one point of clarity, and that is in 2016, and I believe it was in 2015 when the administration bumped the mayor's salary to a little over $43,000. And the mayor also had supplemental income as well for serving as a water superintendent, and that was $12,000 per year. And 2019, the administration had been talking about the need for a city administrator in Irondale. And so to ensure that there would be continuity in the city, regardless of who was elected to serve as mayor or council, this would ensure that the employees had that stability in going to one person regardless of the outcome of an election. So they lowered the salary to $21,000 for the mayor to take that savings and apply it towards a city manager or administrator in the city. Many municipalities are moving that direction for the reasons I've just stated. They need to have that continuity. And it is something that I think as a city continues, it's something that we should consider doing because it does provide that stability. I actually took the largest city, which is Huntsville, and then went all the way back down to the 10 lowest when compared to Irondale in population, Meridianville, which has 10,112 people. And I looked at this information, and we are paying our mayor 21,000 right now, but also 50,000 as the water superintendent.
We're only talking about mayor pay.
So, so what this will do is it will bump that up when you add the 50 onto the other. We'll bump it up higher. So we taking that into account. As far as the council members go, I view my role on the council as a service. Every single one of us has a full-time job. Every mayor that has served prior, that has served as many years, because I moved here in 2006, they had full-time jobs. And so this was basically a means to serve in Irondale because they had a vested interest in their community. And so it's not really the money that we should be running for, it's to serve.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Councilman Box?
Thank you, Council President. Number one, this is the area where I was going to speak to the time spent researching by at least two of my counterparts. I can't speak for Councilor London or Councilor Spivey. I can speak for myself. I don't invest near the time that these two do researching things. Now, with that said, sometimes research can be misinterpreted. It can be misrepresented. It can be misunderstood, and it can be actually correctly applied. That's why it's best when we hear them, but we've already done a little bit of a research on our own. Transitioning from that, I would say that our current mayor, who is only being paid $21,000 a year as his mayoral salary, works way more than 40 hours a week. Our part-time would be considered 20 to 24 hours a week. And my company, we try to keep people somewhere around 30 to 32 unless they're getting a complete benefits package, and in which case they're full-time. We expect them to do 40. If they're on salary, we ask them to do 45 because they're not working hourly, so we ask them to do 45. There's a whole lot of convoluted ways that businesses ask their people to work. But this being a municipality is quite different. So looking just at what Councilwoman Cuellar presented us, I had already done some research on it. I will not state whether it's nationwide or statewide, but the average salary for a full-time mayor, statewide or federal-wise, was around $72,500. Well, we're well below that right now. If we increase this salary for a new mayor that will be coming in August, $50,000, ladies and gentlemen, looking at what Councilwoman Cuellar presented. Fort Payne, 14,984 population, $78,000. Okay, Jasper, 14,472, $82,200. Alexander City, 14,350, $60,000. Ozark, 14,350, $52,000. Moody, really close to us, 13,717, $62,000. Okay, should I go on? Okay, so we can flip to the front and look at the other comparisons, and you have some less, some more. You can also look at certain companies that receive no pay. So I'll transition off my mayor, talk about us council members now. When our country was founded, elected officials served for nothing. They served for the honor of doing it. Now, that's where I'm at. I do this because it's an honor to do it. The money that I'm paid for it, no, it doesn't compensate for my time because I make way more money than this owning my own business. So I'm not doing this for compensation of time. Some people may, some people may not. So as far as I'm concerned, we could actually remove the portion of the rest of the ordinance giving a council a raise. But we're getting a bargain on the current mayor should he choose to be reelected. Should he choose to not stand for reelection, I would like to see somebody run for mayor that has the qualifications to be a city manager and a mayor. Then we're getting two slots in the price of one.
This gentleman has those qualifications, but I don't know if he's announced yet to do it. But if he does announce to do it, he's way more qualified than what we're proposing to pay. Those are my comments, Council President.
Thank you. We definitely don't do it for the pay. That's for sure. And I personally think you probably need to have a hole in your head if you actually want to sit up here. People have asked, said, "Hey, I'm thinking about running." I've had people that have reached out to me from other municipalities, and they say, "Hey, I'm thinking about running for council. Can you talk to me a little bit about it?" And my first question is, why in the world do you want to do that? So please know that, you see this and you go, okay, what's the big deal? They show up 2 times a month. But there's more than that. I can't tell you how many text messages I've thrown out there at some ridiculous time. I've probably woken up someone's kid calling them. I know God loves you guys. I mean, we talk Saturdays, Sundays, all hours of the night, when I need guidance. And then all my peers, I know I can squeak something off to Aaron, at 2:00 in the morning, and within 30 seconds, he's going to have it sent back. So there's a lot that we do outside of this. Talk to public people in their settings when we're dealing with rezoning issues, everything in between. That being said, I want to bring it back around for a second. Give me 1 second, Mr. Mayor. Yes, sir.
Well, I was just going to ask you, can I speak up here?
Yeah, I'm
or
gonna
if I
give
don't
this-
speak up here, I'm going to go down there and
Yeah.
speak as a citizen. 'Cause
No, I'm going to
still a
give you
citizen.
your moment,
Okay.
definitely, because this obviously impacts you as well. But thank you for asking for it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and move on. There has been an amendment kind of placed in this, if I'm reading you right, to drop the council portion but keep the mayoral portion
Keep the council portion as it is.
as it is. So basically, when I'm looking at this, section 1, keep it in place. Section 2, scrap it.
Yes, the mayors would continue as is, or if we wanted to go higher, but the mayors would continue as is, and then the council pay would stay the same. And once again, if I don't run, it doesn't affect me. If I do run, then it keeps me right where I'm at.
Right. So that being said, and then a point of clarification, Councilman Sims, I think you are starting on this, is that we are talking about the mayor's salary. We are not talking about superintendent of anything. This is the mayor's salary that we're referring to. So that's the item that is on the table. That's all I'm going to say about this. Mayor, please.
Well, what I wanted to do is speak to the history because I was the only person that was here. Therefore, I don't need any research. I don't need to go research anything because I was here when it happened. The reason that the mayor's salary was reduced because the mayor in office did not want anybody to run against him. And he thought that if he reduced it to $21,000, then no one would be foolish enough to be able to run for that because, as stated, all the other mayors already had a full-time job. And I had a full-time job. Basically, the full-time job to help to be able to write the resolution that went to the personnel board that set the position in place. So the goal was, yes, I'm going to cut my salary down to $21,000, but then I'm going to come in and hire a grade 34, step 4, at $134,000 to be able to fill this position. 134 minus 21 still equals 113. So you were going to pay people $113,000 extra, but you were giving them a $21,000 bill benefit. I mean, I've been laughing all weekend because of everybody that kind of just fell prey to that. So nobody can argue this fact with me because I was here. That was the reason why it was cut. It wasn't cut because it was a noble thing to do or I want to be a public servant. It was like, no, I don't want anybody to run against me. And like you said, you got to be stupid to be able to run for $21,000. And I guess I fit in that category because I did it. But I also want the people to know, if you all have already conceded out there that I'm going to be the next mayor, I appreciate it because I hadn't said anything about running for office, and everybody said, well, this is for Mayor Stewart, and Mayor Stewart's trying to do so and so, so and so. Aaron can tell you, I haven't had a conversation with anybody about anything. Lee, Lord knows everything that I do, can be able to vouch for that. But what I wanted to do is to be able to put everything in the proper perspective. We're always talking about we want to speak the truth. We're always talking about we want to be transparent. Well, I'm being just as transparent as I can be because there's nobody out there or in this room can refute what I just said about why this position was created. And that's my research.
With the added information that Councilman Box brought into the equation, we'll come back around for a second round on this. Councilman London, 2 minutes. What say you?
I don't have anything else to say, add to it or take away. I'm whatever the council wants to do. As far as the second part, the council.
Understand.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Quayle?
Yes, Councilman Spivey is one who's attended city council meetings and has been engaged for several years, even before she served on the council. I don't think it's right to be putting words into the mouths of people. As one who attended your finance committee meetings, your council meetings, I don't ever recall anyone saying, I'm going to do this just so that no one will run against me. I think we need to be careful about what we say because the people that are involved are not here to speak for themselves. That is a Christian approach. You don't do that to an individual. Secondly, I would like to say, and I stated the reason, it was a city administrator, it was to keep the continuity going. I do recall hearing those conversations by the council members, and that's why they did this, looking out for the city and to ensure that continuity. The second point is on this ordinance that we're amending, number E on page 2, we need to refer to our council ordinance that we currently have in place that is that we passed on, trying to get the date here, but we passed it earlier last year. And we should have that language and not E. We should have the language that's in the ordinance that we passed instead of having two different ordinance translations on compensation for council members. In this case, one that if any council member other than the mayor is prevented from attending, we address that in the ordinance that we passed. And it is not this language here. And we need to be consistent in what we're saying. And so we need to strike this portion E and replace it with what's in our ordinance right now. That is amendment to Chapter 2, Article 4,
Thank you, ma'am.
Division 2.
We've got the copy. Thank
Okay.
you. I understand what you're saying.
Yes.
Councilman Box,
Thank
2
you, sir.
minutes.
Well, like I said, going around again, did not want to imply at all that people don't deserve to be compensated for the sacrifice of their time. But I just wanted to remind everybody of the history of a lot greater men than me. Davy Crockett, George Washington, didn't take pay. Now, they probably could afford to pay outside it, but that was part of the ability of noblesse oblige, the obligation of nobility. Up here, we should be servants. So I'm back to just as I said, but looking at something, if I were the CEO of a company that had this right now, this man's salary would be tripled. These two guys would be doubled. I'd stay exactly where I'm at because guess what? I've got a lot more free time and I make my money elsewhere. You two guys, I couldn't grade y'all because I don't know the research you do. You do a lot more in your position that's unseen. And John, I know him dealing with kids all the time. I don't know how much time he has during a study hall or during things like that. But with that said, I know your priority's got to be the ministry and your children. Back to this. If I could give these two a raise, I'd give them a raise because they do research. Whether the research is accurate or presented accurately or not, that's up for us to decide and weigh through up here. This gentleman sitting over here, should he decide to run again, there is no doubt that we couldn't hire a city manager that lives in Irondale. To hire a city manager, but if the city manager doesn't live in Irondale, what's to guarantee the continuity? The guy could be offered more money by Vestavia or by some municipality out of state. So there's not a lot of guarantee there, but I think with James, if or Mayor Stewart, if he runs again, we get 2 for 1, a full-time mayor and somebody that can be a city manager. Thank you, Council President.
All right. Councilman Sims, what say you?
Okay, let's see. I'll go back and catch up from earlier. Secondary, additional supplemental compensation was mentioned. That's not for us to decide. That would be for that, whoever gets elected to sit up here in November, that council can determine whatever they want to do about any sort of superintendent pay. And again, this isn't about me or anybody up here. This is the District 5 counselor, the District 1 counselor, the mayor on November the whatever date. And again, I just think if you have a position that's going to be coming open and you want the best people to apply to that, you got to make it at least somewhat worth it for those people that are out there somewhere thinking about it to go, yeah, let me toss my hat in the ring. I want to pick from the best and the brightest. I don't want to pick from, just do it. I don't know. So I think that's all I have.
As far as my comments go, I will move with the body, so introduce accordingly. All right. I think we have deliberated all 22 of our items. I think we are definitely in the process of setting a record as far as time commitments go, so let's not tarry any longer. There has been deliberation on all of the items. At this time, I would ask for a approval of the form of the agenda.
I make a motion that we approve the form of the agenda with modifications as discussed for adding item 16 to the consent agenda, and also increasing, which was it, the item for the range.
Range.
My eyes are going.
Portion of rough nerves.
Yeah. Increasing item number 12 to $35,000 with $2,000 in additional from the discretionary funds of Councilman Robert Box, and I think $1,000 from Councilman John London. And then finally, on item number 22, to maintain the council pay for the upcoming sessions or the upcoming years at the current level of pay for the council.
That'll get addressed when we get there, won't it?
I'm just making sure that I'm getting it read into the agenda if it needs to be approved as part of that change.
We can, legal, would you prefer the adjustments to that ordinance be stated at this time while we're approving the agenda, or once the ordinance is moved? Fair enough.
Thank you. My
Okay.
apologies, Council President. My apologies, Councilor Sims.
There you go. There is a motion for an agenda on the floor. Do we have a second?
Does that include item 12 having, I guess, the general improvements change versus
Yes.
the specific
He
building?
stated that.
Yeah, I stated the up to 35,000, 2,000 from my discretionary, and 1,000 from John London's discretionary. Yes, sir.
And it's just to be basically a blanket cover of improvements. We're not getting specific.
Correct. You
Got it.
are correct. I did not state that, Council.
Okay. Good catch. All right.
38,000.
Right.
That's correct. Thank
Okay.
you.
We have some
Second.
clarification on the motion. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Now that we have an agenda, we would accept comments on agenda items only, not the public hearings that we went through, other agenda items. Hang in there, guys. We'll get there.
Good evening. My name is Kim Hartley. I reside at 2304 4th Avenue South, and I'm here to speak about item number 17. First of all, I do not know who y'all have met with and had counsel with. I know I was not included. I have been to every meeting about this rezoning that I have been aware of, at least 4 that I know of. I've done a little bit of research, and pursuant to the Municipal Code of Irondale, Section 410, which defines office district zone, Section 410-4 on parking regulations states that off-street parking space shall be provided in accordance with the requirements for specific uses set forth in section 313-3 through section 313-6, inclusive of existing zoning ordinance of the city. And if you go to section section 313-4, it states a minimum space of 9 feet by 20 feet, exclusive of drives, entrances, and exits, shall comprise one automobile parking space. The entire parking area shall be paved and graded to properly drain off and dispose of all surface water accumulation. Section 313-6, which is minimum parking space requirements, states that for business offices, 4 parking spaces plus 1 additional parking space for each 200 square feet of floor area over 1,000 square feet is required. I was informed tonight that the building, which I've objected at every meeting to the size of the building, is going to be approximately 12,000 square feet. Now, in just my general math in the back, which may not be the best, that's 275 parking spaces.
Point. Let's
And
go ahead
I
and make
will-
the point real quick.
Okay. The building does not belong where they're proposing it. There are plenty of places in Irondale. It would be a beautiful place. This place right here
Thank you, Ms. Hartley.
would work for one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any other comments on agenda items only? Yes, sir.
My name's Sergey Kilich. I live at 1319 Marion Drive. And me personally, I don't think that politics should be a rich man's game and a poor man's problem. I'm speaking on agenda item number 22. I want my mayor to work like he's paid a decent salary. I don't want my mayor working like he's only paid $21,000. Because when you get a mayor that's paid only $21,000, you get how many years of just flat, no growth, no nothing. So I don't want some carpetbagger from Mountain Brook coming in and trying to take over Irondale. Mayor Stewart, thank you so much for all your hard work.
All right. Any other comments on agenda items only? I think we've got a young lady that's on her way.
My name is Ann Albritton. I reside at 2303 4th Avenue South, Irondale, Alabama. This is in reference to the proposed building and parking lot from Shea Brothers. I have to agree to no avail. I have never met with any of you. I did witness a derogatory, a little bit of an exchange, the second meeting, I believe, outside this area. I don't know anyone. We vehemently were opposed. We're still opposed. I don't know anyone that has stated that they approve anything that they've been proposed. I don't know where this information is coming. Bottom line, we've had no one to no avail meet with us. No one's acknowledged emails. No one's done anything, but with the exception of Councilwoman Quaylar. She did come out. She did the walkthrough. A lot of broken promises, and it is what it is. This is our residential area, and it has absolutely no room for outside encroachment. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments on agenda items only? All right.
My name's William Hickman. I live at 2302 4th Avenue South. I oppose the Shea Brothers building and parking lot zone. I already have a commercial property that is on my dead-end street that goes back and forth all day, up and down my street. Somebody here had promised that guy that had that property a road that was going to come in over by 84 Lumber. That never happened. He's bought property next to it and built to own since then. Who's to say these guys aren't going to do the same? I mean, they've already done the same, you know? Why are you going to do this in a residential neighborhood? There's plenty of property all over Irondale that can be used as commercial property to do exactly what they want to do, you know? Residential property isn't meant for somebody to come in and buy up and turn into something else. It's meant to be neighborhoods that people raise their families in. That's all I have to say.
Fair enough. Yes, ma'am.
Denise Wright, 2135 Fifth Terrace South. From our last meeting 2 weeks ago, we were told that these people were going to be in touch with the neighborhood. No one has been in touch with us. Tonight on Facebook, I read where we have been giving a new proposal that went to the city council. You know, city council doesn't live there, we live there. And I understand that you're gonna keep the Rock House, great and wonderful. You got the parking, the space in between that and the next house, which is the brick house, which is the Cataldo house. Y'all are gonna put a parking lot. That's not feasible, it's not enough property. And why are you gonna put a parking lot in the middle between two houses when you're building a two-story building on the corner? Why do you keep needing to keep all the out parcels? So tonight, I'm up here to say that I live there. I'm there 24/7. Keep the Rock House, keep the brick house, put your parking lot on 20th Street, keep it out of the neighborhood, because when you start encroaching in on the neighborhood, it just, Shay's gonna keep inching. You give him a mile, he's gonna take 10 miles. So let's keep our neighborhood. That Fifth Terrace stretch needs to be left residential, and we've got 20th Street that you can put, okay? We've made an agreement. I've not made an agreement with anybody. I've not put anything in writing that I agree with anything. And plus, if I had, I'm taking it all back now because y'all didn't do your part. So we need to keep it residential.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other comments on agenda items?
Michelle Barclay, 1118 Carl Daly Trace. So I'm in disagreement with them on multiple things, and I recognize that I don't live on the street. However, I'm an Irondale citizen, and what I'm hearing from a lot of the people complaining is that you don't want growth, and you don't want improvement, and you don't want traffic, and you don't want lights, and you don't want all these things. But the fact is that we need to treat some of our businesses like they are citizens, because they do contribute to our city. And I feel like we're disrespecting that business to a point by telling them what they can and cannot do. The fact is they own that property. And so they have every right to propose what they want to do with it. I actually feel that it would be a beautiful entrance to the historical side of Irondale. I think it could set a precedent that would lead to a lot of improvements down that street and in that neighborhood that would actually give it the charm and historical feel that you guys want to keep, but allow Irondale to grow. And if you shut down every single thing that's proposed that could or could not improve your neighborhood, y'all are surrounded by a lumber yard, a warehouse, 78's right there. 78's about to be refurbished with a lot of stuff for Irondale. Look at it positively. Take it as something that would benefit your home value, because I don't see it as an encroachment. I actually see it as an improvement to that section of Irondale. And I don't mean any disrespect to your houses or your neighborhood, but I feel like it's a positive influence for everybody, not a negative one.
Thank you. Ma'am?
My name is Helen Poe. I live at 420 South 23rd Street, Irondale, Alabama. I'm for improvement, but there's so much property that Shay could go and build anywhere he wanted to. We've already dealt with Shay on other matters, and he was not a good neighbor. I won't tell you why, because that's in the past. He promised one thing and does another. If he don't get his way, he becomes very ugly. I tell you that from experience. So let's keep it resident and forget about the office part or whatever. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I'm Vaughn Barclay, 1118 Carl Daly Trace. Christopher Architect is a nationally renowned architect firm that is sought after all over the United States. Communities trying to revitalize, increase their value, start trends. And that's who the Shea Brothers have brought in to do this project. I feel like he's bent over backwards, request after request, to make this happen, to make people happy. To be fair, the Shea Brothers own the property, and if you chase them away to somebody else, worse things could be built there. At some point, the city has to allow something to be done. Or they have to come in and condemn the houses that are there as they fall in disrepair. That's all I've really got to say about that one. As far as the mayor and the city council, I am very much in support of the increased salaries. Not so much for the people that are up here, but for the future people. I think it is their job to vote for the salary increases for themselves and for the mayor right now, as nobody has announced their intentions to run. That kind of gives them a clean slate, and they can say that they did it for the next person, whether it's them or someone else. It won't affect them running for office if they do it right now. Number two, I think it needs to be commensurate with other cities and whatnot. We've heard some documentation about population, but population is not the only indicator to a city's wealth, its possibilities, and its future. Population can be very different for cities with very different incomes and opportunities. Irondale is blessed with a lot of industrial land that has not been used, and industrial opportunities, and also neighborhoods that can be built, just as we've touched on some other issues tonight.
Thank you,
growing
sir.
our population.
I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Any other comments on agenda items only? Yes, sir.
I'd like to apologize. I know we met with Mrs. Wright and a few other folks December 13th, I believe it was, and I apologize if you weren't invited to that meeting. We reached out to her. We didn't have most of y'all's contacts. Also, for the parking lot spots, we've talked to the civil engineer, and for that size building, the needed spots are around 73. We're not trying to add any more spots than that. We're going to do what's required and not add any more. We also have a petition, which I believe we have about 68 signatures on it. I've emailed it to Ms. Danielson, and I hope she sent it out. I also handed it to Mr. Spivey at last meeting. But I just wanted to point this out, that we have a lot of members within the community who are in support of this building being built. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments on this agenda item or any agenda items other than the public hearings? No more comments? All right. At this time, I would ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda with the additions and modifications as noted.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. So that takes us through item 1 through 16. We'll go ahead and move to item number 17. This is the second reading. I will go ahead and make a motion, since it is my district. Ordain that ordinance, I make a motion to approve ordinance 2024-19 that rezones the properties located at 2201 Fifth Terrace South and 2205 Fifth Terrace South, Irondale, Alabama 35210 from R2 residential to O office district.
Second.
Motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Sims. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We'll do a roll call. Councilman London?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No.
Councilman Box?
Yes.
Councilman Sims?
Yes.
And myself, yes. It may cost me, I'm sorry, but I think it's the right thing to do. Item number 17 passes on majority. Item number 18, this was our public hearing. If we could go ahead and get a motion on item number 18, this will be the second reading. Or 18, yeah.
Move ordinance 2025-01 be approved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
No,
Okay. Roll call, Councilman Linden?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
no,
Councilman Box?
I'll abstain, because it didn't affect me either way.
Councilman Sims?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Item number 19 still needs to be dealt with.
I make a motion that ordinance 2025-02 be considered read.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
Councilman Sims,
It's
no.
reading.
Councilman London, was that a, what say you?
No.
Okay.
You mean you haven't read the ordinance? Are you saying you haven't read the ordinance?
Point of order, legal. It has been read, but it has to be considered to be read. Is that the
Sims
case?
Voted no to consider it read.
That's the way we've always done it, but I know as long as it's been stated, you would consider it read. Okay, so that first action is just a formality,
So-
correct?
So
Point of-
considering it
point
read
of
should
clarity.
pass on majority, considering it read.
No, it's been read, so we're just formalizing that it's been considered read. This first portion holds no weight, correct? Okay. All right. So we move,
Now we're.
right, exactly. If we could go ahead and move on to the second
So-
phase.
This is where I would like some clarity from our legal attorney. At our council meeting that we held on January 7th, we didn't make a motion to consider it read. We didn't make a motion to suspend all rules that would prevent further consideration of ordinance 2025-01. Why are we bypassing that step?
No, we did.
We actually held a first
No,
reading.
but-
There is no legal requirement that you all hold a vote to have a first reading.
I'm talking about number 18, ordinance 2025-01.
I understand.
We did not go through the second step, which is.
You don't have to.
We
That is
don't have
only,
to.
no, you don't. That is only if you want to consider passage on, the first time that you are reading it. That is always optional.
So we can do the same thing with 19 then?
That would be up to the body.
Council?
Okay, so, no,
Well, so item number 18 was read. I thought we were very clear
That's
about
correct.
this process.
It
We had
actually had a first reading.
on 18
Correct.
2 weeks ago. All right. It is, and you can't go both ways. All right. So we had our first reading on 18. This is the second reading, which only requires a majority vote. Councilwoman Cuellar, your version is a first reading.
that's correct, but she said we could bypass that.
We still have to suspend the rules, and it still has to
Yes.
be unanimous. Councilman Sims,
Right, and the
his
point
does
I'm
not have
making
to be
is, on
unanimous.
January 7th, we did not suspend rules.
But
Because
did
we
a
were not
reading.
voting on the ordinance that night.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we're considering this read as well.
I agree with you. We are considering it read.
19, you motioned to consider 19 read.
That's correct.
I voted yes, you voted yes, Sims voted no, just on considering it read.
Yeah.
So the majority, if I'm not wrong, April, considering it read, since we are trying to consider it read, a majority would rule at that stage. Then the second stage would be suspending the rules. And that's where this would die or have to come back for a second reading.
There is no legal requirement that you actually have to hold a vote for a first reading. So if it is something that you want to do, then I would say that a majority vote would control, because it would come down to procedure of what you want to do.
So to recap, she motioned, I seconded. I don't remember your vote, Council, on red. You voted no on red. You voted
Which
yes
makes
on
no
red.
sense.
I voted yes on red. Sims voted no on considering red. Spivey, we need to know your.
So I'm going to make a run on it. I'm going to consider it read because that aligns with all of our practices. Our system of passing an
That's right.
ordinance on one meeting is ridiculous. It's been pointed out by legal counsel multiple times on
Yes.
how we do things as far as passing ordinances on a one.
Needs to be
Generally, there's always a lot of municipalities do an initial reading, like we did with Councilman Sims' version 2 weeks ago. And then when it hits the docket for a decision, it's a majority vote. That's how most municipalities do it. We have this goofy process in place so that we can attempt to make progress on a unanimous item in one night. Would you, I know I'm speaking plainly legal, but would you agree with my assessment?
I agree, because that is allowed under the law, that you can suspend the rules if there is an ordinance that you want to pass immediately.
Right. So for all intents and purposes, to make a running on it, this item is considered read. Can we continue?
I make a motion that we suspend all rules that would
All right,
prevent.
discussion. Haven't we already passed 18?
We already have, but if 19 passes, it would trump 18 because it's been done afterwards.
Okay.
I make a motion that we suspend all rules that would prevent the immediate consideration of ordinance 2025-02.
All right, everything deserves a vote. Second.
You have a motion, you have a second. Roll call, Councilman London.
No.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes.
Councilman Box?
No.
Councilman Sims?
No.
And myself, no. Thank you.
That's shit.
That moves on to item number 19. Item number 20, if we could go ahead and get a motion on the ordinance 2025-03.
I make a motion that's ordinance 2025-03 be considered read.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
I make a motion that we suspend all rules that would prevent the immediate consideration of ordinance 2025-03.
Second.
Motion second, roll call, Councilman London?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes.
Councilman Box?
Yes.
Councilman Sims?
Yes.
And myself, yes.
I make a motion that ordinance 2025-03 be adopted and approved.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. I think they've already left the room, but congratulations on the new business. Item number 21, if we could go ahead and get that introduced. This would be ordinance
Move
2025-04.
ordinance 2025-04 be considered read.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye. Move we suspend all rules that prevent the immediate consideration of ordinance 2025-04.
Second.
Motion second, roll call, Councilman London?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes.
Councilman Box?
Yes.
Councilman Sims?
Yes.
And myself, yes. And finally?
Move that ordinance 2025-04 be approved and adopted.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, that motion passes. Looks like we are one step closer to municipal
I'm
conflict.
just jump ahead. Move ordinance
Hold
2025-05
hold on.
be considered read.
We had some amendments that were gonna be made to
I
ordinance
just,
2025-05.
It's being introduced, so he's going to
Okay.
introduce it how he prefers. Continue, Councilman Sims.
be considered read.
Second.
Motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
No.
No.
Okay, that's a no from Councilman Box, and that's a no from Councilwoman Cuellar. Okay, if we can move on to the second portion, please. Legal, you're looking at me.
We're out of whack on this for what was scheduled, what was wanting to be done. Sims moved his motion exactly as written without adjusting what we talked about adjusting it, which is his right to do.
Right.
Then we quote unquote, we're gonna suspend the rules, but we didn't suspend.
No, we just considered it read.
We didn't
We've only
suspend the
considered it
rules.
read.
All right. So what Councilwoman Cuellar was wanting to say was there was some movement of the body to make amendments. So is that acceptable, or do we have to go with Councilman Sims' motion and second?
Do you need Sims to clarify his intent on what he's moving?
Yes, please.
As
Are you
is.
making any adjustments, or are you making it
was-
as is?
Gonna have a vote on the way it's worded now.
For an increase for the mayor and the council?
Correct.
All right.
And that was to consider it read.
That
is
was to
what-
consider it read.
So that was the very first stage. What
Yep.
you all were talking about earlier would be a majority vote.
Would be a what? now?
So,
Majority vote to consider it read. This is not to suspend rules. You were at the very first stage, which was to consider it read,
And we have.
which does
consented.
not require a vote.
So now,
Yeah.
can we make amendments when we suspend the rules, or since he has introduced it unmodified, then we would have to make the vote yes or no of suspending the rules as it stands?
Correct. It would be as he introduced it.
Which is in its
That would-
original form.
Correct.
Very good.
Currently.
Thank you.
So we had a motion, initial step. Now we're on to our second phase of this item.
I move we suspend all rules that prevent the immediate consideration of ordinance 2025-05.
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Councilman London?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No.
Councilman Box?
Yes.
Councilman Sims?
Yes.
And myself, yes. That does not proceed.
So can we now introduce with the
Make
amendments?
a motion to adjourn.
That ordinance has had its first reading.
So that was what I was asking. Can we have the ordinance with the amendments that Counselor Box was talking about? You stated, well, you'd have to go through this. We'd like to have this ordinance with amendments. Why couldn't we do that tonight?
This
So
would-
that it could pass.
This would be a dueling motion, a dueling ordinance. You could make a motion.
Okay, I make a motion that ordinance 2025-05 be considered read with amending, leaving the mayor's salary at 50,000 and changing and leaving the 12,000 as it currently is in place
For the council.
for the council.
Second.
You have a motion. You have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 No. No.
Councilman London's a no. Councilwoman Cuellar is a yes.
Yes.
Councilman Box is a yes. Councilman Sims, I don't know if I heard you.
No.
And I will say yes to it, to go ahead and let it proceed.
I make a motion that we suspend all rules that would prevent the immediate consideration of ordinance 2025-05, which leaves the mayor's salary at 50,000 and amends it to leaving it, the counselor salaries at 12,000 per year.
Let me restate her motion for her. She said leaves the mayor's salary at 50, actually
No,
increases the
changes,
mayor's salary.
increases the mayor's
Changes,
salary.
Leaves the council as the same. Okay.
To be clear, that would leave section 1 of ordinance 2025-05 as it is currently written. It would take out section 2, which would be changes to council salary.
Thank you.
Is that
Yes,
correct?
that's correct.
All right.
Thank
Second.
you, legal.
You have a motion. You have a second. Councilman London?
No.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes.
Councilman Box?
Yes.
Councilman Sims?
No.
And myself, no. Okay. Does anybody want to go for a third bat?
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion seconded by Councilman Box. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.